actually heard a little bit of the band earlier. The band is,
Take a load off.
yeah. I mean, I feel like one of the,
See,
I
look,
call them like a missed opportunity for
Yes.
people to enjoy music.
dude, look at this. Like, look how comfy I am right now.
Yeah, it's really nice. Actually, I should move my chair.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And like, we're
It feels very, the chair's very Letterman.
yeah, they are.
What do you think of your Brave, by the way?
That's actually really freaking good.
Yeah, they are good.
What's
It's like I think.
Hey, do you care if we bring Devin in on the show real fast and he can explain what a Brave is?
Yeah.
Oh, he's on the phone. I won't do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say you may have him explain it. From what? Well,
It's
actually,
very airy.
I will explain it in my coffee terms, and he can explain it in a professional.
Okay.
I believe it is 75% cream,
Okay.
25% coffee, and that's pretty much what I think it is.
Okay.
And really high in calories.
It tastes very airy. So
Yes.
hold on just a second. Hey, Devin. Hey, you doing anything? Will you come here for a second? Mir? Yeah, you're gonna be on our podcast. Hey, by the way, Devin used to be a sponsor. You remember that?
Yes.
Amsoil.
Yep.
We're doing the Misunderstood podcast again. Nice. Hey, but we have a question, and you want to raise your mic up for him? So, Devin, we're drinking. What is it, Mitchell?
Braves.
Braves. What exactly is a Brave?
Brave? It's essentially just espresso and half and half.
You were
That
pretty
is
darn
it.
close, dude.
I said 75% half and half, and then 25% coffee. But I don't know how close I am to that.
You're pretty accurate. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Very
It's
nice.
it's the perfect blend.
It is
Nice.
really good.
So this come to Common Grounds Coffee Lounge in Flora, Illinois. Get yourself a Brave, Mr. Devin Daniels. It's delicious. It's fantastic.
Thanks.
The bearded wonder.
Andy did word it right. He said airy, and I think that's an accurate term.
It does
Airy.
taste very airy. They're like you froth. Did you froth the half and half? Or not froth it, but did you do it in the steamer thing? Yeah, it tastes very, very like aerated type. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chef's
good
kiss.
job. Great job.
Well done. Thanks, Devin.
So the yeah, I don't. It's expected for him to explain it better than me.
Yeah. No. So what they do is they pour. I only know this because I like stalk them whenever I'm here and I'm just like creeping on them in the espresso machine. So they're pulling a shot of espresso and then they have it in one of those little glass espresso shot puller cups, and then they put the half and half in like that aluminum. I don't know what it is, but it's that metal looking
Yes.
cup. Put it in the steamer and it steams it, and that's what gives it that airy type of, because it's like steam and air
Yes.
and heat. So yeah,
It's like does the metal
Fun
cup
facts.
make a difference? It's like people that drink
it does.
people
but
that
yeah.
drink mules, which are I believe some sort of vodka concoction. They
Okay.
always have those copper cups.
Yes.
So I don't know.
I don't know about like with like drinking consumption of alcohol, but I do know with cooking, copper is really popular because it gets really hot. Not just really hot, but really hot really fast.
Yeah.
So if you like watch chef films and stuff, you'll see a bunch of specifically if it's French cooking, you'll see a bunch of copper stuff, and it's like pots and pans and skillets and stuff, and that's why. Fun fact. Things you didn't know you needed to know. Okay.
My ads recently, for whatever reason on Facebook, a lot of my suggested ads are Gordon Ramsay's cookware,
Yeah.
which I did. So around Christmas, I was getting beat repeatedly with these ads.
Nice.
I really have no idea why, but it did work because I finally decided to investigate.
Yeah.
And dude, it was thousands of dollars.
Nice.
And I'm like, when does $1,000 skillet
Become too much?
is better than $100 skillet?
I have like maybe a $20 skillet, stainless steel,
Yeah.
that I got from Sam's Club. So
It's like, does it really perform better?
I don't
Take
know.
out this, the big thing. I feel like with cookware, the big thing is if food sticks or not.
right. Well, I don't
What pan was it that you used to cook your fettuccine concoction when Taylor went into labor?
know. That was like that was like some Rachel Ray.
Okay,
No, it wasn't. It's Paula Dean.
because it didn't handle the sticking food very well.
Right.
Because we all went over there to help clean up or get the house ready, I guess you would say, for when you guys had Leland, and I was in charge of cleaning up the kitchen, and I will never forget the skillet.
So it wasn't fettuccine. What it was hamburger helper stroganoff.
Okay,
And I don't remember what I did. But we were out of milk, and I substituted it with something.
was it like dry milk that you substituted?
It may have been
Or
actually.
flour?
I think I put some flour in to thicken it up.
Whatever it was, dude, was if they're ever looking for a concrete substitution, like if concrete becomes
Like a more sustainable, affordable
yes,
option.
it
That
was
would be
whatever that was.
I don't even remember what it was, honestly.
That was freaking awesome, dude.
I think that was one of those times where, like, during pregnancy, Taylor was having one of her fits about. I'm sure I might get canceled over it. I mean, we're a really small podcast, but if somebody important's listening, they'll be like, cancel that guy for talking about his wife throwing a fit during her pregnancy.
Right.
But no, she was like throwing some fit about wanting something, and I was over it. So I just made her something. And then she got sick, and
Oh, you guys think that concoction is what maybe threw her into labor, right?
well, so like she got sick, really bad sick. And she was like, I don't normally get sick.
Right.
And so she said, you need to take me to the hospital. Coincidentally, when we got to the hospital, they said, you have preeclampsia because your blood pressure is really high, and it's going to throw you into labor anyways. So we might as well induce labor. And she was there for like days. It was nuts. Anyways, sorry, I digress. We're going off on a tangent here. Hey, welcome everybody to the Misunderstood Podcast. We are your hosts. I am Andy Thomason, and
Am I supposed to say my name?
yeah,
Mitchell Buds.
we gotta be official, I guess.
Yeah.
We've been talking about doing this podcast for too long. We did it for a while. What was that? 6 years ago?
Yeah, so I was looking back. It was we did it really heavy in the end of 2018, and really heavy through 2019.
So almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, and somebody was asking me, which we've had a lot of people over the last few years ask us when we were going to do it again. We didn't realize how many people actually enjoyed it.
No,
Well, I mean, we did because
we had subscribers and
yeah,
listeners.
I mean, towards the end, we were. I'd hate to throw out in my head. It was somewhere around 10,000 on average per episode. I'm pretty sure that was right. I think some may have been more.
Huh.
But I remember that, if I could log into our old account, which we can't, I could get better numbers on that. But I remember it was every state in the U.S. except for
Illinois.
No, it was, dude, it was something weird. It was like either North or South Carolina. We had nobody listening. Which was strange. And then we were really big in Germany,
Yeah, I remember that.
and we had a few in like China or something like that.
There's
But
a bunch of people like using footage of us to explain the average white trash American.
yeah, I think the Germans were, because I had some friends.
We
that,
were specimens.
Yeah, we had some. I had some friends from my last job they'd come over from Germany and work over here, and we'd go over there. And they were so fascinated with the culture over here, but not in a good way.
Oh,
They were like, they made fun of us quite frequently. So I think a lot of it over there was those friends telling other people like, hey,
you're not going to believe this.
yeah, like, hey, remember what we was telling you about?
Confirmed
Yeah, this.
facts.
And
Dude.
so it was a lot of, Germans are, they're like, I consider myself pretty straightforward, but Germans are hardcore straightforward,
Yeah,
and it's like no nonsense
dude.
over there.
You want to know something funny about what you just said? Not really funny, but interesting. I made it my New Year's resolution. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna lose weight, or I'm gonna read more books, or I'm gonna do this." My New Year's resolution was, I'm just gonna get rid of the crap and cut to the chase,
Yes.
and just say it like it is.
Yeah.
And I've been practicing on Call of Duty.
Yes. Yeah. And no, I think that it's a good exercise for people to be straightforward.
No, I'm sick and tired of it.
Yeah, because I would say it was probably 2 or 3 years ago I decided that I was going to be straightforward and say exactly what I want to say, because at the end of the day, if it really upsets somebody, it's not my problem.
No, well, and here's the thing too. It's not necessarily that. It's not necessarily. Here's why I think people confuse about whenever we say stuff like that. People think, "Oh, you're just being offensive. You're being insensitive." It's not. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you're being a twerp or a douchepacker, I'm just gonna call you out on it, and that way you just know, hey, cut that out. Quit doing that.
Yes.
Or specifically customer service employees.
Yeah.
I have had words with about 3 different customer service individuals in the last like week, and it's because of this resolution. And it's not that I'm being like rude or anything, because they were rude first,
Right.
and so I'm just being like, listen, like that's not how this works.
Right. And you know, people say like, even say like fast food employees, they, which I'm not going to use examples, but there's people that say, well, you know, they don't get paid a whole lot to
Dude,
get credit. And it's
Don't
like,
give me that crap.
it's like, well, okay, I'm not for sure who exactly set the bar on who can be criticized and who can't be. So apparently,
Yeah.
if you make decent money, you're allowed to be criticized. But if you make not so decent money, you have to leave them alone because their job's already hard.
I don't freaking care
Yeah.
how much money you make. It's it's just do your job, do it well. And I'm not saying like you have to come in every day with a smile on your face, but I mean, like, look at Devin and his people over here. You know, I doubt they're making buku bucks. But you know, every time I walk in here, Devin's got a smile on his face. He's happy to be here,
Right.
and you know, he's the owner, so I get that. But even his employees, every time I come in here, they're all happy to be here.
Right.
I'm like, either get a different job, because clearly this one isn't working out. And I feel like people take that take that too offensively, which we can get into in our show notes about people like being too freaking sensitive in this world.
Right.
But I feel like whenever I say get a different job, people will take super offense to that. Or, but it's like, no, like we live in a world where you can like work anywhere. So
Right.
this isn't super duper difficult. Now I know there's like, it's a little more complex than what I'm making that out to be, but nonetheless, you know, if you don't like it, do something else, man.
Well, and there's people that are, it's like there's one of two employees. You're either really happy with your job and you enjoy it,
Yeah.
or you
Hate it.
hate it. And what really blows my mind is the people that have like, I've worked this job for 20 years and I've hated it every single day, but I have health care.
Yeah.
The old classic golden handcuffs,
Yeah.
which is,
I mean, I get it.
I get it, but I don't get it, because I would say, so
So you're self-employed.
yes,
Do you have to pay for your own health care?
yes,
Okay. I mean, not trying to be super personal, but is it like super expensive?
yes.
Okay.
Especially right now, that you're hitting a chord that. Have you heard
I
about
struck a
our
nerve.
recent health insurance fiasco? Remind me, I'll come back into that. But let me answer your question. So, or go into that. So the health care, yes, I have to pay for it, and it's a considerable amount, but I do like what I do,
Okay.
work wise.
So the compromise is worth it for you.
Yes.
And I mean, that's not to say like your health care is expensive, but not to throw any numbers out there or anything, but you do pretty well.
Yeah. No. I mean, usually I do pretty well, and It just kind of depends on the year and the time and all that. But it's worth it for me to enjoy my job and try and make extra money and pay and deal with health coverage versus be miserable and say, well, at least I have health insurance.
Right. Oh, okay. So I have a question for you. This is an interesting. You just kind of had a epiphany, not an epiphany, but I had a question that popped up in my head. I was trying to come up with some fancy words. So you work in a job that your income fluctuates based off of your performance. Yes.
Right.
Okay. What are your thoughts about that compared to your standard salaried position?
So whenever I worked at Hella, I was a salary position and I worked an extreme amount of hours.
Okay.
And so, but I made the same money.
Okay.
What I do now is if I want to work really hard and drive myself into the dirt, I know I'm going to make more money. And I like that. Now,
Sometimes the drive's fun.
the drive is fun, yes, but it can wear on you.
Yeah.
But I think, for one, I think salary positions in a fixed job. So my job is not a fixed job. It's
Okay.
I always say there are so many eggs in the basket, and
Right.
if I want to take a bunch and make more money, I can do that. If I'm like, no, I don't really want to work that hard right now, I'm just going to take a little bit. That's what's nice about it. But regular salaried positions in a typical W-2 format should be completely done away with.
That's what you think?
Yes, and
Okay.
here's why: it is 100% the employer's way of saying we are going to take 100. We're for sure taking advantage of you.
You're
And-
taking all of your eggs.
Yes,
regardless.
we're taking all of your eggs. You are for sure going to work more than 40 hours a week. You are for sure going to be at A and B when we tell you to be at A and B. And
Now, what you're saying though, because I know whenever you say things like this, not you specifically,
Right.
but when people say things like this, people are going to hear that and they're going to say, "Well, not everyone has that luxury of being able to do that." You're not that responsibility that you're saying is not on the employee but the employer.
right.
Right? Okay. Moving
And
on.
so it's when you are in a salaried position like that, for one, when you get hired on, the salary position is a major sales point because
Yeah.
they say, okay, we're going to give you $65,000 a year. And if there's weeks you work 30 hours a week,
You still get that.
guess what? You still get your paycheck.
But how often does that?
That does not happen. It may happen during your golden period.
What really happens?
And because even like, which I had some really good management when I worked at Hella. So, I can't bash them, but we had pretty strict project deadlines.
Yeah.
And like one year I decided to take my hourly, like I kept track of my hours. So I think when I worked there, I was making just under 70,000 a year. And so take that. So just say 70,000. And then I kept track of my hours and did the math.
Yeah.
And I made right around $10 an hour with
Based
the
off
hour,
of-
with the hours I actually worked.
And that was because of the high pressure deadlines.
Yes. Yeah, it was like I was living in Rochester, New York for months.
Yeah.
I was, we would go there and we would work.
But he had insurance.
I had insurance, but yes, we would work. Dude, we would work 7 a.m. till sometimes 9, 10 o'clock at night. But I had insurance and they would have lunch delivered
Yeah.
and even truck it out to the production line.
Nice.
And their way of being like, this wasn't Hella necessarily. This was that supplier, but it was literally their way of being like, here's your lunch, but we would really like for you to eat while working. So
Yes.
they would literally have,
So we don't have to halt productivity.
they would literally, it would be like a dog and pony show where it's like, we're having, the sub shop deliver subs, and people would bring it to your position and be like, oh yes, here's your sandwich. What kind of chips would you like? And your drink, we brought this for you. And every once in a while I'd be like, what a nice gesture. And then it was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Then you'd be like, wait a minute.
They just don't want us to go take a 30-minute break.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I totally disagree with salary positions. And I think that the way I think it should work is, getting back to, I think, your original point, is if you're in a salary position and you do your work and you're done after 30 hours that week,
Yeah.
I think you should just be able to be like, hey, I'm done for this week.
Yeah. There should be like a goal.
Yeah.
You know, like when I worked at NAL, they had order quotas. Like we have this many,
Right.
we have this many things on order. The problem was where there were so many orders. It's like, how do you keep up
You ain't
with
going
that?
to get that.
No, not well. I mean, well, yeah,
It's going to be hard to meet their expectations.
yes,
And, you know, it's just, I think it's a employer's way of totally taking advantage.
it's worker exploitation.
Yeah. And I think that there are certain positions, like I think of people that work in real estate. Let me use real estate as an example. Say that you're a really good agent and they're like, say that you're selling real estate and I own the real estate company. And it's like, you make really good sales. So there is some office work that I would like for you to do on occasion, just whenever you can. But I'm going to pay you, $35,000 a year, and you get your commission. So like in a position like that where the salary becomes almost like just this little extra bonus, as long
Yeah, as you're working,
as it doesn't turn into a 40-hour work week of you doing busy paperwork.
right?
So in a nutshell, I think that overall salary should be eliminated, and it should just be an hourly pay, because I feel like people are always going to get taken advantage of, is what I'm getting at. Employees.
Okay,
I mean,
so so going on with what you're talking about. Okay, I made my New Year's resolution that I'm just gonna cut to the crap. Okay, cut to the chase, I suppose. Cut through the crap to the chase. Here's my thing about like my summarized theory or my summarized feelings about all that stuff that you're talking about. Business owners and corporation heads need to quit being so gosh darn greedy.
right.
Because, I mean, I'm not saying, here's what I'm saying. Like, and I know somebody's going to hear this and somebody's going to be like, that guy is an anti-capitalist. That guy's a socialist.
Right.
That guy's this. No, I ain't freaking saying that. What I'm saying is that if you have like record profits, like a substantial record profits as a company for the year, and you have employees that are having trouble paying rent, that's a problem. Now, granted, you could say that's not my problem, but
Right.
still, it's like, I mean, and I guess that would be fair. It's your business, do it how you want. But don't complain to me whenever you have problems getting people to, you got people that are like, nobody's wanting to come work here. You think?
Yeah, and why would they? It's like,
Why would they?
it's like whenever, say in a production environment, it's like, we met our deadline and we're going to make $10 million. And to thank everybody, we're doing a pizza party.
Yes.
Nobody cares about the pizza party.
No.
And also, why not, like at Hella, we would do these OPEX projects where it's basically like you figure out a way to maybe produce 2 more parts a minute on a production line. And you may do that and actually succeed and say that's it's gonna generate another $1 million in sales a year. It's like you may see a $50 Walmart gift card.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they need to turn around and cut like a 50-50 check.
No, but still, as some sort of recognition,
Right.
because I know people that will put that kind of effort into their work and get,
Right.
and maybe a gift card is the max. And I feel like if you make an improvement that improves the company's revenue by $1 million,
Right.
what at least needs to happen is your name needs to be in question, or not question, but your name needs to be in conversation for some sort of promotion.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this guy's actually putting in some extra effort. Let's take care of this guy. But no,
Right.
that rarely happens.
There
You
has
know?
there has to be incentives to make people want to work there. It's like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I would like to know what the incentive is to
Okay.
make people want to work there, because
I've worked there since we started doing this.
That's
So
what-
do you want to hear it?
yes, because it's like I've been to lots of them all over the country, and never once have I been there and been like, man, those people were in a bad mood or
No,
the
dude.
service was bad. It's like they have got something figured out to where,
Chick-fil-A
Everybody-
was my favorite job.
yeah, I mean, I would work there.
If we still lived in Wisconsin, I'd still be working there. I was a manager at Chick-fil-A.
Nice.
It was the greatest job ever. Even if I was just like, And what's funny is I was a manager, but but I was an early hire manager.
Like manager in training, or
Yeah.
God,
Manager.
manager,
Yeah.
manager in training.
Yeah, essentially. But I mean, I still had the name. I still had the tag that said manager,
Right.
and I still had authority over the plebs. But my duties, like my roles, were still like the pleb roles, like cash register, drive through, stuff like that.
Right.
I really enjoyed it. It was so fun, and time went by so fast because they're so busy.
Right.
There's hardly any dead lull spaces, so your day goes by super fast. You get a free lunch, a free Chick-fil-A lunch. I
Right.
eat Chick-fil-A like every day. Everybody was so nice. The owner operator, because they don't actually have owners of stores. They have operators,
Right.
over the stores or whatever. Super personable dude. He would visit pretty frequently, and he was the one that hired me. It wasn't like some
HR manager.
yeah, it wasn't. It was the dude that owned the place or operated the place. He was the one that hired me. He was the one that interviewed me. And also it was in Milwaukee. And so, if you got lucky, a couple of the Bucks players would come in.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're not allowed to frat because they're like just another customer. So
Right.
they're like, nah, no autographs. No, they're just another customer. So
So what made it though so enjoyable?
I think it was just all of that stuff, and then not to mention just the atmosphere of just a pleasant working environment. In training, it's like ingrained for you to just have a good day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like whenever you're in training at some other places,
It's more about production.
it's a lot about production. And the thing that I heard all the time when I worked at Chick-fil-A was it's just a chicken sandwich, and not to degrade it, but to be like, hey, listen, this isn't high stakes.
This isn't complicated.
Yeah, like this, like nobody's gonna die over this. Even if somebody complained or something, like a customer, just give them another one. And I'd be like, really? And they'd be like, it's just a chicken sandwich. I heard that all the time. That it's just a chicken sandwich. We don't have to make this a huge ordeal. It's just a chicken sandwich.
Nobody's getting bent out of shape over
Right.
bent out of shape over the chicken sandwich.
Right. Or it's just Chick-fil-A sauce. Like just
So compare that to McDonald's, because I asked somebody that
Dude.
worked at McDonald's. I'm like, do you get? So I expected you get like your meal on shift for free, and they were like, they thought that was hilarious. They're like, no.
yeah, we did, and it was, dude. That's to this day my lunch from working at Chick-fil-A is my Chick-fil-A order. It's a spicy chicken sandwich, no pickle, pepper jack, cheese, and a lemonade.
So don't you find it interesting that McDonald's, for instance, they don't give a free lunch?
I find that insulting
Because
because my dad works in food, like he owns his own food business.
do you get free lunch working for your dad?
Yeah,
What would you do if your dad started charging you?
I'd be like, I'm gonna steal it.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting my free lunch, whether
Yeah.
you know it or not, man.
I mean, whenever I worked at Phillips in high school, we had the pizza and the hot bar and stuff like that.
Did you get free lunch?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Darren doesn't own it anymore. And Darren Greenwald, he's such a great guy. I'm sure he probably knew, but all of us guys that work there
Would steal the chicken tenders or something.
No.
Oh.
We would do our free meal, but it was a little extreme.
Oh, okay.
So like
You'd really go for it.
my go-to was a foot-long sub, and I would do like double chicken, double
Dude.
bacon, and I had this signature move where I would cook myself like 8 mozzarella sticks, and I would layer them on the sandwich, and then with barbecue sauce.
actually pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, this was a very expensive meal every time.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, no, it was actually, I think I did talk to him about it because I was trying to get it on the menu, and he was, looked at me like I was an idiot teenager, which I was. But anyways,
What do you think restaurants would look like if they took advice from their teenage employees? That's a fun question.
well, that is a very fun question. So,
I'll tell you.
boy, there's like,
Let me give you an example of one of my brilliant teenage ideas for my boss that was a restaurant owner. Okay.
Okay.
So Joe DiMaggio's Pizza, my favorite pizza place in the world. I've been to a lot of pizza places. I mean, a lot.
yeah,
a suspicious amount of pizza places, and Joe's or DiMaggio's in Fairfield is still my favorite,
Right.
100%, hands down. So and you can take that to the bank. So going back, I worked there when I was about 16 years old. It was my first like job, and I told Joe that he needed to change the menu items of his pizza, and instead of and I was like, this is a simple fix. Just get a label maker and add the words ER to every word inch.
To every what?
So like every time you see the word inch
Yeah.
on the menu, add at the end of it. So for example, a 12-incher.
I can't imagine he took this well.
Dude, he did not think it was near as funny as I did. I thought it was so fun. I was like, just think about it. This is like marketing genius. This is marketing genius, man. Like nothing's going to make your mouth water more than a 16-incher.
Because when you say incher, yeah, I get what you're going.
I was
know where
like,
you're
this
going
is
with that.
so simple, dude. This isn't complicated.
I mean,
Just add the ER at the end.
do you know
That
of
was
any
my
other
16-year-old idea for a pizza place.
dude? I mean, I would say majority of teenagers, they should absolutely not listen to their ideas. I was trying to think of what ideas I would have even had.
Nowadays, it'd probably be something like you should have marijuana on your pizza or in your sub.
Yeah, it would be that, and like allowing vaping while working. It would be a lot of things. I mean, dude, not to bash the younger generation.
Well,
but
their brains aren't fully developed.
they're not.
Mine wasn't.
But they're not. But anymore, dude, the amount of them on phones while working. I remember. So, like in high school, we had phones, but they were legit like track phones.
Yeah.
And that was when people were starting to get Blackberries and like the Motorola Razr.
And nowadays, if you were on your phone, though, it was to reply to it. Or not nowadays. At that time, if you were on your phone, it was to reply to a text.
Yes.
So that's like, did you have like your thumb like patterns down on? Because remember, like,
yes.
what was it, T9? It wasn't T9, but it was like that.
I had the in high school I had it was one of those phones that like it was literally like a brick, but you'd flip the middle up and it had the keyboard.
Yes. Were those called like an Envy or something?
Yeah, something like that.
I had a Verizon chocolate,
Oh, I remember.
like
those.
ever made by LG.
Yeah,
Dude, I thought
was
I
those the ones that were slimmer and they like flipped up?
that was the juke. I had one of those
Okay.
too, but the chocolate was like thicker. And the gimmick was it was an MP3 player and a phone. Dude, I thought that was so cool. That was like cutting edge technology.
So. Well, Darren would be like, it was like no phones.
Yeah.
Like you can check your phone on your break. Like the amount of people.
I get it though.
Yeah, but like, how often you go to a gas station and somebody's sitting at the register? There's like, is this everything? And you can see their phone
Dude.
is like on right there, and they're really annoyed that you interrupted them.
Yes.
And then just in general, like being with, I don't even want to really go into this, but it was just kind of all in my mind, like going to family events and people sitting around on their phone,
Dude,
and it's really bothers me.
I feel like most of our family events we don't, unless I'm like if I'm watching the kids, which which is probably it's probably bad to say because it's like that's the time you should not be watching your phones when you're watching your kids.
Right.
But it's
Well, no, dude, you need a distraction from kids.
yeah, from like the craziness happening. Unless
Right.
Bluey's on, but still, like for the most part, if we're doing family stuff, like usually I feel like with our family we're like playing a game or
Right.
having some sort of conversation about the local gossip or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dude, it's like I'm turning into,
Our parents.
yeah, and it's like everybody warned.
Dude.
It's just like when everybody warned you, like, well, the older you get, the faster it's going to go, and you ignore all of that. And then
Right.
it's the same thing with like, well, when you get older, you're going to look at the younger people and be like, that's ridiculous. Like I seen a really good article the other day about, it showed a picture of a truck, like a really old picture of like a Model T Ford or something next to a horse carriage.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, back then the people with the horses was probably like, look at that car. What are they going to do whenever they run out of gas? How ridiculous is that? And now people are saying the same thing about electric cars.
Yeah, what are you gonna do when the battery's out? I'm not gonna lie to you though. I'm all about the EV movement.
Yeah.
My favorite electric vehicle is Rivian, and it's made in Illinois.
Yeah. No, I think they're okay. I think that I think electric vehicles are a good thing, but I do think it needs to slow down.
Dude,
We're really going into it fast.
Now I'll say this: like my fascination and endorsement of the EV movement has nothing to do with sustainability, climate change type of stuff. It's just I think it's neat.
Yeah. No, I mean, I go into the whole like,
And have you ever driven an electric vehicle? They're like stupid quiet.
yeah, they are. I
It's-
mean, which my brother-in-law was telling me that
Is there a gnat?
yeah, I don't know what it was. The Tesla, I guess, is, and I don't know if this is how true this is, but Tesla is doing like a pretty major recall right now because
The Cybertruck?
no, the issues with the self-driving.
Oh, see, I can't do that.
No, and it's I don't think it's really the Tesla's fault. I think it's government putting restrictions as they probably should because people are getting too lax with the self-driving.
Yeah.
And it's causing some accidents.
Yeah, because so I drove it wasn't actually advertised as a self-driving car, but it was a car that had features that kept you where you needed to be. So like lane keep assist,
Yeah.
and then the adaptive cruise control.
Mm-hmm.
And I've drove on the interstate like that, and that was the greatest driving experience I've ever had.
Well, like Brittany's car does the whole lane assist and all that.
Yeah.
I don't. The whole setting the cruise control and it slowing itself down and speeding itself back up kind of freaks me out because I found myself getting to where I really relied on it. And then
you drove something that didn't
too
have
comfortable. And then I'm in my truck and you have to be like, oh yeah, this cruise
You
control,
slam
it's
on
not,
the brakes
it's
'cause
not
you
stopping.
forget.
It's not stopping.
Yeah.
So
It's getting closer.
yeah. So it creates a little bit of too much confusion,
Yeah.
I don't know. But so with the, whatever. I think that the electric side probably should slow down just a little bit. Need to figure out a little bit more. It does take a freaking crap ton of dirt to create a lithium battery. But at the same time, I do love lithium batteries.
Same.
Like our Blink cameras.
Yep.
Like one time just to try it, I put regular AA's. Dude, it was like 2 weeks they were done.
Same. I did that with mine.
The
Well,
li-
because I didn't have lithium batteries on me.
Yeah. And we, like right now, dude, it was probably 3 months ago. I put new lithiums in them and they're still fine. But granted, 2 AA's is $10.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're actually saving money.
Because of how often you
Yes.
don't have to
So
buy.
I'm a big fan of lithium. But, is it produced in the most environmentally friendly way? Probably not. But also you could argue is drilling oil, horizontal drilling and stuff, is that environment, like healthy to the environment? Probably not.
So the problem that nobody wants to, or the truth that nobody wants to hear, is that all of our conveniences, like if you really want to be sustainable, then get rid of most of the conveniences that you have in the modern world. Grocery stores, go grow your own food,
Right.
automobiles, ride a horse or a bike, I suppose. But even then, the people that make the bikes,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So if you really want a truly sustainable world, get rid of the modern conveniences. So
Yeah.
either do that or shut up. And that's a great segment into what I really, really wanted to talk about people being so stinking sensitive. I feel like at times we are super dogmatic on, and we won't move on some things. But we forget that if that's the case, then we have to do this. And so what I mean by that is like what we just said about the sustainable environment stuff. If you really want sustainability, then you have to get rid of, go minimalistic at best.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to go off grid, but minimalist at best.
Right.
So we were talking the other day about me wanting to talk on the show about my frustration with people that just don't understand humor
Right.
as a whole. And so the example that I gave was I was telling a story about someone that innocently and ignorantly, without knowing, used a racial slur.
Which those are the best racial slurs whenever
They don't know.
Right.
That's what's so funny. And I was like chastised for it practically. And it's like, okay, but if we're gonna be dogmatic about like this thing, then we. And here's the thing: is like what I feel like what people don't understand is that people take like it's not. I don't even want to call it racist humor because it's not really what it is, but it's humor like around that genre of racist stereotypes. People confuse that with literal racism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's not that I'm saying, and I'm like a person of color technically, so I can use that card on this one. I hear people my gamer tag on Call of Duty is Ching Cole,
Right, which is
and
awesome.
I hear people, I hear like the greatest Asian comments
Yep.
ever. But I don't literally think anybody's going to come to my house and harm me because I'm Asian.
You're not taking it to heart.
No. Well, and do I think that there probably are people out there that hate me because
You're
I'm
Asian.
not full white or I'm a half breed or I've tainted someone's bloodline? Yeah, there may be somebody out there that hates me because of
Right.
those things. But am I going to be super offensive by someone saying chink?
Dude, who said chink last night, by the way?
I don't know.
No, wasn't it somebody on our team?
Oh, it's probably Drew. I think it's Drew.
Because didn't he apologize for it?
He didn't apologize for calling me chink. He apologized for calling me by my gamer tag instead of calling me Andy. I'm like, dude, you never freaking call me by
yeah.
my... Because he's getting mad because I missed his call out. And I'm like, dude, you never call me by my gamer
That's right.
tag.
I
And
remember
you
that.
choose this one time to call me by my gamer tag. And you're
Yeah.
going to get mad about that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No.
No, anyways, I think for one, innocent racial comments are maybe the best racial comments.
It's
And-
not because... And here's what's great is that it's because the people that say them, they're usually not really racist.
No.
It's just that they don't know.
yeah.
It's kind of like what's a great example here without getting canceled?
Like I use the term Jewy a lot. But and apparently it's racist.
Yes.
But I do use like that's very Jewy of you. But I
No,
mean,
dude,
look at
take-
how many years people's been saying the term like, "Oh, you're trying to Jew me down."
Dude,
That's
yeah.
technically,
That is a racial
but
slur.
was it 20 years
No,
ago?
dude, I'll give you a prime example. Here's a prime example, okay? One of my favorite movies growing up was Coal Miner's Daughter. And there's a line in there. It's actually still one of my favorite movies to this day, but there's a line in there where Loretta's dad tells her mom to show him that squaw dance. And I'm just a guy that quotes movies.
Right.
And so I said something to Taylor about showing him that squaw dance.
Right.
And I don't remember where I was, but people's eyes got huge.
Right.
And I was like, and it's like in my brain, like the office department in my like the HR department in my brain, which is like minimally funded.
Right. No.
They were like, okay, we got to go back in the files here and check this out and see what's going on here. And I found out evidently that you can't say that. And I'm like, I was like, I'm pretty sure though, like a squaw is a name for. And here's what drives me nuts: if you watch like that animated Peter Pan children's film, they still say squaw. They say squaw no dance, squaw get them firewood. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, but like if that kids movie can say it, I mean, granted that was from
Well-
the '60s, but still.
Why though are we supposed to evolve? And for one, keeping track of what is appropriate and what is not is exhausting.
That's what
Just
I'm
like
saying.
in California with the whole, and I believe New York is this way. Like they had to revamp all of their government stuff. Like they can no longer call manhole covers.
Yes. So this isn't just like, I'm not picking on races.
No, it's
right? This is
everything.
everything. The LGBTQ movement, so we've talked about this. I would love the LGBT, like not like sexually or whatever, but just as a person, I would appreciate the community more if they weren't so freaking insufferable.
Right.
Because it's like you can't win
No.
with them.
No. And,
Nothing's ever good enough.
well, and have you seen where like your gay and lesbian groups are saying they are like, we do not want to be part of the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
Because they're like,
You guys don't even like each other.
yeah, they're like, we're gay, we're lesbian, and that's what we are. But you guys have because what they're saying is like, you guys are taking this to an extreme, not even
Dude.
like sexually. They're like, from a political standpoint and from a movement standpoint, they're like, you guys are taking this way
too far.
We're outside the circle of gay and lesbianism.
Right.
And so I feel like that says a lot whenever you have a group like that where core members, if you can even say it that way, are like, we don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
And it's also
The OGs, the original gays.
well, yes, the originals. Like, because look at like the gay and lesbians maybe 30, 40 years ago where they're like, we they weren't throwing it in everybody's face.
Right. Dude, you want to know something that I think is kind of ironic is that whenever it comes to LGBTQ rights and movements, there's an at here. The comment a lot is I was born this way.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever it comes to pro-choice,
Right.
it's a choice. They
Right.
have the right to choose.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, but like same thing like I was saying, if we're going to be dogmatic about the choice of whether or not it's a life that's in your stomach or in your uterus, if that's a choice,
right.
you know, something that's literally being born, then this thing, why can't this thing be a choice too? And I'm not saying that you weren't born with these tendencies, fantasies. You may have been. You may have been born with those. I'm
Right.
sure that's possible. Shoot, I mean, whenever I was a kid, I wanted to be Pocahontas, or I wanted to.
Did
I
you
was,
really?
I was in love with Pocahontas.
Oh, I thought you meant you wanted to be Pocahontas.
Maybe I don't remember. I had a suspicious fascination with Pocahontas. Okay,
Right.
whenever I was a child, and so, but nowadays, if that happens,
Right.
it's like, okay, well, that child is queer.
Right. Yeah.
So that's
Can you
what
even
that
say
means.
queer anymore?
Dude, I don't see. This is the thing. This is the thing that makes it that makes the I don't and I hate using the term woke because it
Yeah,
drives me
it's
nuts.
very woke.
Yes, but it drives me nuts on both sides of the spectrum.
Well, because you also have the black. It's like, is it black? Is it African American?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's the
Same
one
thing.
That's the one. Whenever I really lay down my I don't want to be racist cards, it would be the black, where I don't know what to say, so I will avoid it.
I
very-
suppose. Well, and so like sometimes my in conversation with people, my directive is just to refer to people as people.
Right.
And so like the black community isn't necessarily as bad as the LGBTQ community, and I'm not speaking as a whole. So before you come on my case and before you direct your hardcore attention towards me, I'm not speaking as a whole, but you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the insufferable, super loud. It's probably the minority of the LGBTQ plus community, but they are the loudest portion of
sure.
that community. And they're the ones that enforce you to, like, they give you the directive to give them your pronouns.
Yes. I'm not
Upon
doing the
meeting.
pronoun thing.
I'm like, dude, like, I just met you.
Right.
I literally just met you. So
I'm not even 100% positive on how the pronoun thing works, but I 100% am choosing not to participate. And it's like, and here's why. If they want to do pronoun stuff, great. I am not taking the time to understand. I don't know why all of a sudden it's because, like you said earlier, they are being so loud, and it's not just LGBTQ. It's all these, all these facets of whatever you want to call it, groups, whether it's BLM, the Jews, all of them, and the gypsies. The gypsies are a whole nother one. That,
Dude,
the gypsies have felt left out for too long. now the gypsies are coming full force. Like, wait a minute, you guys stopped caring about us running around stealing people's chickens and
Right.
being prostitutes. We now need.
You can't do that though. That's slut shaming.
Okay, yes. Well, now the gypsies are getting on a kick of they're not getting enough attention. But anyways, we can go into the gypsies. Well, dude, where was I even going with this? Oh, the pronouns. I am not taking the time to understand it all because, and not to be rude, I don't care.
Right.
And it's like, how is it fair to me
And I don't
everybody
mean
else?
that. Like, it's not to say I don't care about you.
Exactly.
It's just
It doesn't matter to me.
it doesn't make a
And
difference.
how is it fair to everybody to be like,
You have to do this.
We have to go through like need to be courses on this stuff. Does there need to be reading? I'm sure there is reading material, but it's like, I'm not taking the time. And again, it's not out of disrespect to the people, but it doesn't matter to me. You can do what you're wanting to do, but the fact
Exactly.
that you're shoving it down my throat.
Yes.
And it's just like the COVID. It's like what, and maybe a lot of this came from COVID, but when COVID happened and the amount of power that went to minorities,
Yeah. Well,
not even minority groups. I'm talking like going to fast food places, retail stores,
right.
the power that went to people on, they can then be outspoken in a way where it's like, no, you have to wear a mask or you can't come in here.
Yes.
It's the same thing. It is, well, with
It's in the
these,
same
with
amount.
these,
The
with,
Menards employees,
yes.
dude.
Oh, they were hardcore. I mean, they had people running around. Their whole job was, and Menards, dude, they weren't letting you get away with it below your nose.
No,
You had that baby like right over your lip. No, that's not working.
dude.
But what I'm saying is, it's not fair to expect everybody to adapt and learn, and it's just not fair.
Well, I don't even know. I don't necessarily know about fair, but I'm just saying that, like, specifically with things of like like bedroom habits. Okay.
Like sexually? Or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, still, nonetheless, I video game in my bedroom. I don't freaking tell everybody
Dude,
about that.
I didn't know where you were going with that because when you started, you said I video.
No, dude. Yeah.
And
yeah.
then I was
said
like,
game.
really?
I had to finish that sentence.
Yeah.
I video game. I game in my bedroom.
Okay.
I don't tell people like, I don't go into details about like super specifics about when I'm game unless they ask. So that's the same thing, like with like your sexual habits or whatever in your bedroom. I guess if somebody asks, then yeah, that's an invitation into your life to they're kind of curious about those things. But don't like go out there telling everybody what specifically you like or
Right.
what's wrong with you.
Right.
And I think once again, that's probably like slut shaming or something. That's probably something that'll cancel me. But I feel like we've lost a sense of decency, and I don't mean that in the sense of saying like traditionalism of like you have to do your bedroom habits have to be this. I mean, I have my convictions about that, but what you do in your bedroom, you do in your bedroom, but I just don't need to know about it. I don't care if you're gay, straight, or whatever, or overweight, whatever, whatever your habits are.
Right.
Just be decent about it.
Yeah. See, are you saying that you don't like sexual jokes? Or are you saying that you don't like to talk about people's
Okay,
sexual
so
life?
now
'Cause there's
yes, so that goes back into what I was saying earlier about people not understanding, because someone's going to hear that and they're going to say, well, you say you make jokes about the other day we were talking about our wives and how hard they can be on us or whatever, and Taylor telling me that whether or not what time I should go to bed, and I'm like, you better be naked.
yeah.
if you're
Just to
telling me-
clarify, she didn't actually tell you. To go to
No,
bed.
she
Yeah.
didn't. But if she did, I'd be like, you better freaking, whenever I get in there, there's got to be some incentive
I'm
on
ex-
this. Like,
I'm
what's
you have expectations from when you open the door.
right? It's like, this is a give and take relationship, honey. So,
Right.
if
Yeah.
if I'm giving, I'm gonna take.
Yeah.
No, dude. So, right. So people right. I just made that joke, and then
Yes.
people hear what I just said, and they're like, oh, well, you make these jokes.
He's too far.
That's the difference between. That's what I'm saying is about the racist humor versus literal racism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not to say I'm not saying that. What am I saying? Oh, I'm not saying that I'm literally like going out there and telling people specific details about my sex life, but I think you can make make light of a situation. And honestly, to me, I think like the best humor is honest humor,
Yes.
even if it's like a subtle honesty,
Right.
right? And so, this was not even about this is a super politically neutral topic right here, okay? But somebody told me that I shouldn't make jokes about stereotyping Chicagoans for liking hot dogs. And I was like, okay, but you go to Chicago, and what do you see when you get there? A bunch of freaking hot dogs.
Right.
And so it's not like I understand like not everybody in Chicago might like hot dogs, but the majority of them, like you
Right.
go there and what do you find?
Yeah.
Like a Chicago coney.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
That's
you know?
like
New York.
I'm-
Where do you go? What are you gonna
Pizza.
get?
What about Gary, Indiana?
I don't freaking know.
I can tell you. I bet people in Gary, Indiana don't want to be associated with loose meat sandwiches.
Why do you say that?
Dude, so I worked up there quite a bit, and I started seeing these signs that said like Gary's best loose meat sandwich, and I was like, What is going on?"
What
and
the
I
heck?
seen it everywhere, and so I finally decided to go into one and see what was going on. It's a sloppy Joe. They literally
Oh.
call them
A
loose
loose
meat
meat-
sandwich.
Oh,
Dude, that is exact. And because I said, we call those sloppy joes. And they're like, no.
there's
no.
a whole SNL sketch about it.
Yeah, they're like, no,
The
no, no.
cafeteria lady, dude.
Dude, they're like dead serious. They're like, no. That's a loose meat sandwich. I'm like, there is no worse
Dude.
way to describe.
Or dude, that I use that. You say the glass is empty. I say the glass is half full. That is the best way to describe a sloppy
Dude,
Joe.
That
Is
is
now
so
in
gross.
my vocabulary.
But I think that, and what you're saying about people being sensitive, whether it's race or anything, that at what point, it feels like it just happened, but at some point, everybody, it became too sensitive, whether it was a group or
No, it
individuals. And
I mean, some of it's legitimate.
yeah,
Because I do know that there are some people that get legitimate hate out there for the way they look or their habits or stuff. I get that. And I'm not diminishing that. What I'm saying is that I didn't do it.
right.
So why? It's like, Germans, right? I don't know if there's any history buffs here,
Right.
but Germany has a history, has a historical past
Yes.
of genocide of a
Right.
certain,
Yeah.
culture. And so, but Germans today, they're like, am I holding a German today accountable for what happened at some concentration camp? I mean, I'm not Jewish, so I have no right to hold anybody accountable. First and foremost. And that's what bothers me too about like people that jump on the BLM movement that aren't black.
Yes.
I'm like, dude, like this doesn't like you should support in like racial injustice,
For sure.
100%.
Right.
But should you you're not one of you're not part,
You're not part of this.
dude. Yes. Yeah.
No. I mean, Germans, so what discovered with them is they don't want to talk about what happened.
No.
Because I asked a couple of my friends over there about it, and they were just like, "Yeah, we don't talk about that."
Right.
But I wonder if other countries, like let's just keep talking about Germany, but I wonder if they struggle with the same things that we do
They
in
don't.
America with the blacks.
They don't. You want to know why? I mean, what do you think the percentage of the population of Germany is black?
I want to say it's low.
It's probably really low. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, I remember seeing this comedy sketch, and this dude's like, everyone thinks America's so racist. It's not. If you watch the Olympics, it was Daniel Tosh, and he's like, you watch the Olympics, and China is up.
Right.
You you know what I mean? He's like, it's gonna be a bunch of Chinese. It's gonna be a bunch of Chinese people,
Yeah, for sure.
and so
it would be weird if it wasn't.
No, yeah, it would be weird. And so that's the problem. I mean, that's not necessarily a problem, but that's kind of the thing about
Yeah.
America being a melting pot of sorts is that now, like,
There's a lot of races here.
a lot.
Yeah,
A
and,
lot. And so I don't think these other countries have these problems simply because they don't have. Someone could say, well, maybe they're just better. Well, maybe, whatever. But I think part of it is because they don't have as diverse of a culture.
But when did people become so sensitive? Let's just focus on America.
Yeah.
When did it happen that everybody became sensitive? And like you said, we don't like to use the term, but woke, because woke is just spreading like wildfire.
Here's why I don't like woke. I don't like woke because either it's been utilized in a positive way by the insufferable hardcore left, or it's been used in a super derogatory way by the insufferable right.
Right.
So either way, I hate the term.
Right.
So, because I'm somewhere in the middle,
Yeah,
and I'm
I
like,
would
can't we
agree.
just be decent human beings about things and enjoy life?
And maybe that's the problem. Maybe there is no middle anymore. Or the minority is in the middle. Because you even look at, I would consider myself probably leaning a little bit more right, but I'm definitely not a hard right as far as
Same.
politics. But I feel like you don't really hear of a lot of people that say that. They're either really left or they're really right. And I feel like, maybe that's just the case for every situation.
Okay, so let's go. Let's do like a little lightning round about topics on whether or not or on where we fall. Okay.
Okay.
So we've talked about this before. Gun ownership. I think that people have the right to own guns, with the caveat of responsible gun ownership.
Yes.
And what was your example?
Oh, yeah. It was like everybody in Illinois with the ARs needing to register their ARs.
Yeah, and you think
And
they should?
I think that they 100% should.
Yeah.
And which is going to, there's so many people that's going to argue with me. And
Because I feel like we've been giving the left a hard time. We need to give the right a hard time.
yeah.
too.
So with the gun ownership, I don't understand what the problem is with registering your gun, because people are like, well, that's not.
They're going to know I have it.
They already know if you purchase the gun legally. So there's lots of things.
They're going to know.
One, that you should purchase guns legally.
Yeah, you should.
Period. I don't care.
That's been even before all this.
Well, what people say is like, well, it's not always been that way, for sure. In the 1800s, long time ago, I'm not for sure exactly how they were keeping a paper trail on that kind of stuff.
No, they weren't. But there
So-
was still a legal process. You
There
went
was
to
a
the
legal-
store and you got the gun.
Yes. So I think even if I was to buy a gun from you,
Yeah.
the legal thing to do
Report it.
is we write up a some
Bill of
sort
sale?
Yes, and I report it. That's just a legal thing to do. Just
Yeah.
do the thing. It's not hard. Are you planning on being a criminal? And people are like, no. Then just do it.
What's the problem?
Because the reason behind the registration is it's not so much of, well, yes, they want to know who owns the gun, but they also want to know, like, say that gun is used to kill somebody else.
They
They
want
just
the
kind of
trail.
want to know, okay, well, what happened?
Yeah.
Party A owned it, party B has it, party B used it. Did he steal it? We just
Did he
need to
buy it?
know.
Yeah.
So the people that are like, well, I shouldn't have to register my guns, then you probably shouldn't just own guns, because that is being just a good citizen of, like, it's an easy process. Just register your guns.
My thing that we talked about too is we register everything else.
Yes, if you buy a TV, that's a good point. Everybody is going to be like, you go buy a dish. You go buy a new washer and dryer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
You
gonna,
register
It's
it.
going to tell you, you have to register this for the warranty to be good
Yeah.
in a year.
Now,
And
do-
guess what?
I haven't bought a firearm in a little bit, but do firearms have warranties like that? If for you to is there some sort of incentive
I'm not
aside
for
from
sure.
it just being legal?
I'm not for sure.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's a good question.
They
So-
should offer some that might help alleviate that
Yes.
situation. Having that said, though, do you think the firearm manufacturers, where do you think they fall under that?
As far as whether they should be registered,
Whether they should be registered or not?
I would hope that they would say, yes, we would like for you to do that. That way, it's Dude, it's
You get what I'm saying though?
all it is. Yes, all it is a hot topic discussion. Guns will always be a hot topic,
Yeah.
and I think that everybody should 100% be able to own guns.
I think so.
And in
yes.
a certain, obviously, if you're a criminal, you've had a history,
yeah.
then yeah, don't own, you're not
No.
allowed to own guns. That's just you gave up that right. But if you have the right to own a weapon, like
That privilege, because it's not a right.
no, it's
It's
a
a
privilege.
privilege.
So if you're within means to own a gun legally, you should. For sure, I own guns. You should be able to own guns. Just you should also register the guns, and it should not be a big deal. It's
Right.
not like they're coming to take your gun, but dude, there's a fascination, and that's all that it is. There's a fascination of people that literally think that the government is going to come take their guns.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm not registering it because, they just want my guns. I really don't think they're going to come take your guns. I think that they would, and they probably should, if you choose not to
Yeah.
legally own them, because there is a legal, way of owning a gun. Just like when you transport a gun, there's a legal way to transport the gun.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's a hot topic where everybody wants to get mad about it.
Dude, that's okay.
It's a sensitive thing.
Yes.
Where
they
this
want
is
to get mad about it.
the hard right. This is their window.
Yes.
This is their opportunity to say, this is what we're mad about.
Dude.
It's over here. It's the gun thing. We're mad because whenever people start running for president, it's so annoying. It's like 2 or 3 things.
Abortion,
It's abortion,
guns.
and it's guns. And then usually mix in
Healthcare.
some healthcare and taxes in there.
Yeah.
But the big things is on the Republican side, it's going to be like, okay, who's the NRA endorsing?
Yeah.
Okay, they got the NRA. Good. The abortion thing is such a freaking hot topic that, in my opinion, everybody just needs to stop talking about it.
No,
and I think that,
dude.
no, I'm not. We're not even going into that. But anyways, the guns is 100% just something for the hard right to be upset about, and to be sensitive about, and to think that everybody that's they're out to do me wrong
Right.
item.
So do you think? Yeah, I feel like most of society today, and I made this comment a couple days ago, is it's a Mexican standoff where everybody is just ready to pull the trigger on everybody, or everybody's got a loaded gun pointing at each other. But what I think is ironic, including the hard right, is that nobody's had gun safety and everybody's got their finger on the trigger.
Yes.
So,
I mean, so when you go say you go to hunting stuff and buy a new gun, your gun is going to be registered.
yeah,
So most people are going to gun brokers.
yeah,
But the reason for that is, one, it protects the broker.
right.
They can't just be selling guns under the table. I hope not.
yeah,
But no, it's just, dude, and so many people are going to bash that we even said what we said about gun. Like, I can already feel, I know of one person in particular that is going to be really upset by the, yeah, you should register comment.
well,
Because what do you think Darren Bailey would say?
well, his thing here recently has been I will not comply, but I'm not sure if that's specifically about registering or
Well, see, Illinois originally wanted to get rid of the ARs.
I know.
I think that is wrong.
Yes, I agree with that. My thing with that too is more of just like a logic standpoint of that you're specifically targeting an AR-15.
Mm-hmm.
But we've talked about this before, that you can go on to, I can't remember what it's called, but it's that it's that military firearms surplus.
Yeah.
Register as a club member for a collector for M1 Garans, whatever you want to call them. And you can get one you can get like a good one for about $1,200.
Right.
And it's a semi-automatic rifle.
Right.
So, but it doesn't. But it's like it doesn't look as menacing, I suppose, as
Right.
an AR-15. But still, nonetheless, in capable hands, it's just as lethal and devastating as anything else. Or say for example, a 9mm pistol. just as deadly and devastating as an AR-15.
Right.
And so why is it that we're specifically targeting this one thing? I'm not saying that like you have your concerns or whatever. I get it. 100% I get it. I've got kids. But if why this specific thing?
It's because
And I think it's just because of how it looks.
it's how it looks, and it was marketed so well with like attachments and modifications that, which is really cool. And
It's
I
the firearm version of a Jeep.
yeah, it's like I like exactly. I like AR-15s,
Same.
but it's targeted because they're very easily accessible,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do really cool stuff with it.
Yeah.
And they look dangerous. They look very military-like.
Yeah,
It's cool for people to own a gun that looks like that. And, you can do all these different attachments. That's why. But because, like you said, the other guns are just as deadly.
They are. Here's my thing, too, that I don't understand about the argument of criminal activity using a firearm. Okay. And we talked about this, but I used to live in Waukesha, Wisconsin. And a couple of years ago, there was a Christmas parade. I think it was a Christmas parade. But somebody plowed through the parade going like 30 or 40 miles an hour and did a devastating amount of damage. I mean, there was obviously a substantial amount of casualties because of it. But nobody said ban automobiles.
Right.
Nobody said cancel this manufacturer.
Right.
I'm just gonna say Subaru.
Right. Yeah. We don't really like them anyways.
Right. No. So no, but nobody said that.
Right.
But if there's a school shooting or something like that, which is a terrible thing. Like I said, I've got kids. So that's a legitimate fear of mine. I'm like, my kids shouldn't have to be afraid to go to school.
Right.
I shouldn't have to be afraid to send my kids to school.
Exactly.
But if you're using that argument as for that, then you have to use that argument for this too.
Right.
Like no more automobiles and parades.
Right.
Just everybody just walks.
You can do, if you're really wanting to hurt somebody, you're going to figure it out.
Exactly.
But it's just the gun, the AR-15 is just an easy target.
It is an easy target. And so I feel like, so this goes back to what I was saying about being just a decent human being.
Right.
It's not about left, right, whatever. It's just about sensibility, being a decent person. What was another topic? Healthcare. That was another one. Because, like you said, anytime there's a presidential election, which is election year, so I guarantee you the hot topic is going to be abortion, guns,
Yes.
maybe immigration.
Yeah, you're right. Immigration would be up there.
Yeah, and then healthcare is a big one. Obviously, we just talked about healthcare. It's stinking expensive. I'm a foster parent, so well, actually adopted now, but my kids' healthcare is covered through the state.
Right.
Also, my wife and I, we're not like the most wealthiest people, and so because of like our family situation, we fall under a bracket
Right.
to where we qualify for
Yeah.
state covered insurance.
For
And yeah, we
sure.
take advantage of that.
Yeah.
It's not to say that like we're
You're not mooching.
no,
And
and even at that, like it's anybody that's complaining about their taxes going towards my medical coverage. I go to the doctor like 2 times a year.
I like how you did like a disclaimer.
Dude, it's for real
Yeah,
though.
no,
Yeah,
it is.
because it's like
Yeah.
trust me, your tax dollars are not necessarily going towards like me getting unnecessary hip replacement surgery whenever I don't need one because I want to be a freaking cyborg. So
There's a difference. Like in your situation, that is exactly what it was designed for,
yeah,
and as it should be used. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is people that are on
people that take advantage of it.
the people that could go to work that choose not to go to work.
Yes. So
And the people that are like,
to quote Oliver Anthony.
yes, the fudge round eaters.
Yes.
They, dude, there's just people that are even open about it. Like, my doctor says, this is my favorite one. It's like, my doctor says I can go back to work if I do this.
Yes.
As in, the doctor's like, you can go back to work if you say, let's just say, work out, start eating better, get better in better shape. You can go back to work.
Yeah.
Well, then you choose to go years and not do that.
Yeah.
That's when I think the government should be like, okay, look, you need to lose some weight. You lose some weight, your diabetes is going to, I'm just using the
Dude,
examples here. Your
yeah.
diabetes is going to get better. Your legs are going to start feeling better. You're going to be able to get back to work. That the government has to start putting a cap.
Right.
And what I mean by that is they're like, okay, we for 1 year are going to pay for your gym membership.
Dude.
And then
Or I would just say, if you don't go to the gym, I'm going to charge you.
yes. And then say, but give them like, if the doctor can prove like you are an able human, that's when the health insurance or the government should be like, okay, you have a year.
Yeah.
And if you don't,
You have a year.
then, and
You're
I feel
gonna
like
be-
a year is a lot. And
If you
but-
don't if you don't get the crap together, population control is going to be
yeah, dude, I
It's
mean,
gonna take-
people will disagree with that, but I really believe that it should be like, yeah, you okay.
this
you're-
goes
you-
back to what I was saying about just being a decent human
yes,
being.
and be like, look, we got people that are in a vegetative state. We've got people that have serious health conditions that really need this money, that
Yes.
really need this help. You're just over here. You don't want to move around a lot, and
You're
you want
taking
to
advantage of the system.
and you want to eat like a freaking moron. Like, no, you're not doing that no more. You know, you're gonna get your stuff together
Right.
and figure it out. Because quite frankly, the amount of people depending on the government that even if they subconsciously, like even if they aren't aware, I guess. Because
the thing,
well,
too,
what I'm
is-
saying is people get into a stage where the next they may have went into it innocently and they legitimately needed the help, but eventually they look up. Say years goes by and they look up and they're like, well, you know, I was really comfortable where I was, and they adapted to where they was.
Yeah.
So they chose not to change.
I suppose that's possible.
And that could be quite literally like we were talking about stuff with regular employment earlier. That's where the government's not doing any favors, and they're putting golden handcuffs on other people, being like, well, you know, you're here, but if you go here, we're taking this away from you. Because I've heard a lot of people talk about how they're like, you know, I can't make more. I'm not using you as an example because I know you don't do this, but it's like I can't make more than I am right now
Because then I'll fall out of the
then
bracket.
I go here
No.
and I lose this. That's where the government is failing people,
Right.
because they've created this.
But you know something that people, so like not specifically with government aid, but with things like taxes, right? How many times have you heard somebody turn down a raise because it'll bump them into their tax bracket?
Oh, it's for sure a thing.
Yeah. But what people don't realize, because I've actually done the research on it, because I'm like, that doesn't make, like, some of them aren't quite add up to that. But what people don't understand is they're taxed not on the whole salary, but on the difference of what brings them into that bracket.
Yeah.
And so it's actually not the wisest financial decision for you to turn down. I guess it depends. Like if you do the math and the math doesn't work and it turns out like that you're not actually making very much more money, then that's not, I would not turn that down because you think that you're going to be taxed more. I'd turn it down because that's an insult from the company to bump you into a new tax bracket that's not really giving you a raise.
It depends on the situation. Like, for instance, okay, so let's look at like your annual tax bracket.
Yeah.
It has to be, in my opinion, feathered. Like
Not necessarily.
Yes, it can't be like, okay,
Aligned.
25 to 50 is this, 50 to 75 is this. I think it has to be feathered.
Yeah, but how do you
Better.
regulate that?
Well, so for instance, let's say, I'm not going to use specific numbers, but like with my income last year, our accountant was like, hey, you really don't want to make $1 more than this, because if you do that, it puts you here, and it's going to, you're going to have to pay in a lot more. So she put it on paper, and it literally would have cost me more in taxes if I went over that threshold by $1,000.
Yeah.
It would have cost me several more $1,000 because I went over it 1,000. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's where I'm saying, and I'm not good
should
with
be
that
feathered.
stuff. It needs to be feathered like somehow. Because then people say like, you know, that's a whole nother topic of people with taxes, where there's the people that are hardcore, like I'm writing everything off and I'm buying everything I possibly can because I don't want the government to get
Right.
anything. And then I'm more like, I'm all about paying my fair taxes and I will deduct what I need to deduct and can, but I'm certainly not, I'm okay with paying
Okay.
taxes.
So here's the thing, right? If you are not okay with paying taxes, it's not necessarily the taxes that you don't like. It's where the money's going.
Exactly.
So, because when people say that they don't like paying taxes, I'm like, that's not necessarily true. Because if the money was going to a place that you absolutely agreed where the money was going, then yeah, you'd be like, yeah, I'll pay my tax. These people did a good job. They need to be taken care of, whatever.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
people should be willing to pay taxes. I don't think people like, well, people don't understand, like, what would the country look like if everybody just decided we're not going to pay taxes?
Well, they wouldn't have government. Yeah, you wouldn't have people.
But then the people say, well, we don't need government. Well, that's not true.
That's not true.
We do.
You do need government.
So, do I think that we are being tax raped? For sure.
For sure.
I think paying
But
tax.
do I think eliminated taxes altogether is the
No.
answer? Right.
No, I think that I think taxes on used vehicles and used items in general is
Yeah.
completely ridiculous. I think that
I think paying like in
'cause-
general, most things at the DMV that I pay taxes
Oh,
for,
yeah, that's
because that seems like you're just double dipping. You're just getting
no.
greedy there,
There's
man.
lots. There's things that are too much. I think I think it's ridiculous to go anything, because think about it. Anywhere you go and anything you buy is taxed.
Yeah, everything.
You're taxed. I think it should just be somehow figured out to where it's like our income is taxed. That's what's taxed.
Yeah.
But this whole like we're not going to pay taxes, that's not going to work.
No.
There has
Well-
to be people smarter than us in charge of things. But unfortunately, with government, and that's kind of the
Okay.
really the way government was designed to be. There are always going to be people that you agree with and you don't agree with.
Right.
That's just the way it's supposed to be.
No, here's the other thing too that I think people fail to realize is that these politicians, they really don't care about you.
No, 100%.
I mean, do I think that we should have government on a level? Yeah, I do.
Right.
But do I think that your average modern politician has your specific best interest at heart? No, because it is a career for them
Yes.
and they're going to make money doing it, and they will do whatever they need to do
Yes.
to make the money.
It's like when people are running for office.
Yes,
You are all of a sudden they are everywhere.
they are everywhere.
But what the other 3 years, it's like, where are you?
Right.
But, and I'm not saying that there aren't.
Now,
like,
that's not every
it's
politician. I
really
get that.
not.
But I'm just saying the majority of your average
Yes.
career politician.
I think
Yeah.
because like Darren Bailey, I think is legitimately a good dude.
No, we had him on the show.
Yeah, and he like we were super. Our other show, like we had a lot of subscribers and we did well.
Yeah.
He 1000% didn't have to come on our show,
No.
and he quite literally, we just did it at my house.
Right.
And he just come and hang out. He just came and
Hang out
at
with
the
us.
house.
Yeah.
And like he's the type that I think genuinely cares about his community. And
I mean, he cares about. I mean, granted, he does have like some self gain in what
Oh,
he's
for
pushing
sure.
for, but still, nonetheless.
yeah, and do I think that politicians have the right to have self gain? Yeah,
Yeah, they do. But
because it's like you said earlier, it's like any other job.
yeah, do they? I mean, they have the right to have some form of self gain in it. Because
Yeah.
like, why would you fight for something that you didn't believe in, right? But my problem is that whenever you are super, when you're a pushover to whatever your lobbyist wants
Right.
you to do,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Well, also I would like to point out that we definitely called Darren running for governor.
Yeah, we did, dude. We did on the show, didn't
Yeah.
we?
We did.
Yeah,
because
straight up.
he was like, no.
He was just state rep then, though.
Yeah, but we were like, you're gonna run for governor, and he was like, no, I'm definitely not. And we were like, are you
Dude,
sure?
yeah,
and
you're
remember,
gonna-
he said, well, I mean, I don't remember how he worded it. Basically, if he felt guided to by
by
you know,
God.
by God, he was like, I would do it then.
He
But
must have.
he must.
We were that confirmation.
Yeah, I think God actually told us to tell him that. 'Cause
Yes.
he probably left that podcast like, oh,
I should run good for governor.
yeah. He's
He's
like,
probably
well,
like, Mitchell and Andy were right.
yeah.
I should
Yeah.
I should run.
I don't know if he did think that, dude. Talk about like stressful, like his
Dude.
whole governor's run, which he freaking killed it.
He did a
I
good
mean,
job. I mean,
he
he didn't
did.
win, but he did a good job.
But dude, I was exhausted for him.
Yes.
I mean, holy crap. But anyways, I think that where are we at before that? Oh, okay.
Healthcare.
Yeah, so like with healthcare for me right now is a little bit of a struggle.
I think it's an insult that people should have to decide whether or not they can afford to take care of, like, to medically. Not like,
Yeah, so that's where we're at right now. It's like, so our youngest son Marshall's autistic. I think most people know that, and he goes to Limitless, which is now here in Flora, which is a really great program. But he has to have very specific health care.
yeah. And
which
is that covered on?
very expensive?
I say I don't think that's covered on your
Normal
normal insurance.
No, like if I was to go, so like a few years ago, insurance company wanted me to be a staff adjuster for them.
Yeah.
And they were going to actually pay me really, really good. The hang up was, though, their health insurance did not cover ABA therapy. Like, it just wasn't a question. And I was going to have to pay for it anyways. And when it was all said and done, I was going to make a lot less money.
Yeah.
So, anyways, right now we are dealing with nobody knows whose fault it is, but everybody's told me it's not mine. So
Oh,
you're gonna
what?
have to brace yourself because I'm really angry about this.
Okay.
So the other day, I kind of need to go to the bathroom. I'm trying to decide if I want to do that now. You know what? Can we take a short break?
Yeah, let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
all right. All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Anyways, so what I'm just to recap, we were getting into a discussion on healthcare, and if you want to, you could listen back. But
Yeah.
anyways, so what's going on with me right now with the healthcare is there's this wonderful game between my agent, Blue Cross, and the health marketplace where everybody has declared I did nothing wrong, but you still have to pay a lot of money.
Dude.
So the other day, I'm on our checking account, and I was like, thousands of dollars are gone in 2 separate payments.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, we got freaking hacked. But it said Blue Cross Blue Shield. So follow me here because this is about to get really confusing. I'm going to try not to mess this up. So
Okay.
we get a hold of our agent, and we're like, hey, this happened. And she's like, oh, I had somebody else call me with the same problem. And we're like, okay. And she's like, well,
Is she just left you there?
yeah, she's like,
That's interesting.
yeah. And she's like, well, you really need to get a hold of Blue Cross. Which is, dude, pisses me off more than anything whenever something is wrong and people redirect you.
Yes.
I'm not going to say who she is or her company as much as I want to, just because they have been good to us. But I am probably going to be actively looking for somewhere else. But you are doing a job, and your job is I'm the client, and you kind of need to work for me.
Or like your job is you have your service, so I don't have to do the things.
Right, exactly.
You're the intermediate between me
You-
and the service that I want.
You are the person to figure out this problem.
And so if I have to bypass you, the service provider,
Right.
straight to the service, then why am I paying you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I called Blue Cross, and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this is a problem." At first, they're like, "It was really." This lady goes, "How much did you get charged?" And I give her the amounts, and she's like, "Well, your premium is normally this much." And I was like, "Right." And she goes, "Well, I wonder why you were charged that."
freaking love that.
And I was like, "I don't know, but let's get the ball rolling here because this point I'm getting." And
what they're doing is they're stalling.
yeah,
And trying to
and
process.
she's on her computer like, "Oh crap, what's going
Like
on?"
she,
already?"
like you can hear like,
Well, then it got to, she's like, "What's your information, my social security?" I gave her all that. And then she transferred me to somebody else. And this is another thing I hate is I said, "Well, when you transfer me, are you giving them my information?" And they're always like, "Oh, yeah." And because I'm like, I don't want to go through this information thing again. Okay, yeah, no, I want to give this to them. So I wait on
then you
hold.
get there?
I get there and like, "Hello, how are you?" And I'm like, "Hey, this is Mitchell. Anyways, this is what's going on."
who is this?
I go into my whole spiel and they go, "Okay, thanks for sharing. Would you mind giving me your birth date?" And I'm like, "Yes." I give them my birthday. They're like, "All right, social security and address." And I literally said,
Dude,
"I just went through all this with the last lady." And she's like, "Well, she didn't send me any of that. So we're going to need to do that again." So anyways, that made me mad. So it gets to her and she's like, "Yeah, you're going to need to talk to the health marketplace." And I was like, "Are you kidding?" I said, "I called my agent. My agent tells me to call you. Now you're telling me to call the health marketplace?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." So then I get a hold of health marketplace, which this lady was actually very helpful. She's like, "Oh yeah, so this is interesting, but it's not your fault. It's your agent's fault, I think." And I was like, she's like, "You really need to talk to your agent." And I was like,
where do you think I came from?
yeah. So in a nutshell, just so I don't bore anybody any further, the agent or agency did not submit my tax information to Blue Cross and healthcare.gov. So they are assuming that I have no children, but they're charging me for my children's plan. So the child tax credit, like when you do your taxes,
Yeah.
you have so many kids, it's X amount of credit. On paper with the government, I have no kids. But when it comes to financials, I have kids.
Okay,
So
that's what. At least that's how your agent set it up.
No. So apparently every year my agent is supposed to send my taxes in to healthcare.gov, the government, whoever, so they apply the child tax credit. They forgot to do that.
Okay.
So
So did you have to bill that, or did you have to pay that regardless, or did
yeah,
they?
so basically my health insurance went up like almost $3,000 a month.
Dude, what?
Yeah. Or it is going up because they charged me quite like a lot of money the other day, for which I'm still trying to get to the bottom of that. That's another thing is I said, I told lady at healthcare.gov, I said, "Why didn't I get notified?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, we sent you an email that we didn't have this." And I still have yet to find that email.
Dude.
And I said, "Well, why not a phone call or a letter?" She's like, "Well, the email is, we consider that our form of communication." And I said,
No.
I was like, that's really kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it's for stuff like that. There should be 3 standard forms of communication: email, phone call, and mail.
Or even, yeah, a text,
Yeah.
anything. So they were like, dude, they dismissed that so hard with
Dude.
the whole email. Like, they were basically like, "Yeah, we don't care. We emailed you." And I've yet to still find the email. And they're like, "Did you check your spam?" I was like, "Yes." And I was like, I got a lot of emails from healthcare.gov. They're total garbage emails. But
Yeah.
I have nothing saying we are charging you a bunch of money. And also you're going to be paying a bunch of money if you don't do this. So basically, the agency forgot to send this in. The government is charging me as if I no longer have children, but I do. So it's roughly $3,000 more a month, and now I'm in the process of going through an appeals. So the money that they took the other day, they basically told me to deal with that in 2025 tax season.
What?
Yeah. They're like, "Yeah, you're just going to kind of have to deal with that then."
What?
Yeah. So I'm not getting that back. And I literally said, so are you guys going to send me a reminder?
Dude.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They're like, no. You're going to have to deal with that. That'll actually.
You got to wait a whole freaking.
Yeah. So they're like, since this was done in January, you really can't do anything about this till January next year. So that's going on. And then this $3,000 a month where I'm in me and Brittany are in the process of, we got to go do this whole appeal thing. And I'm like, so when I do that, is this a guarantee that this is going to be fixed? And they're like, I kept hearing the terms like, well, let's hope so. We really,
Let's hope so.
so it has to be filed by January 15th in hopes that it would be corrected for the rest of the year, but there's no guarantee.
Dude, that boggles my mind. Dude,
Hence why my boat's for sale. So,
that's why you're selling your boat.
that's where I'm at in this world is like,
dude. I'm a financial loss away from starting an OnlyFans.
yeah. So I'm about there. So it's like my boat is literally for sale because somebody effed up so bad.
See, okay, so going back to like that discussion, which I guess technically would be in the last episode about at this point because we're like in the second part of this, but going back to earlier, this is why people have a problem with like the tax thing.
Yes.
Because it's not the taxes, it's this crap of it's like, okay, but whenever like I and I didn't even mess up, but whenever something gets messed up, I get penalized hardcore for it.
Yep.
Hardcore for it.
I am paying quite literally for somebody's mistake.
Yes.
And that is not fair. And I'm literally
Is there no like suit action that you can take against like your
I'm
agent?
considering it if this appeal doesn't go through.
Dude, my only request is that like somewhere you can throw in that we get a free trip to like Universal or something.
Yeah. I mean, I am considering it, but they've done a really good job of reminding me that it's not my fault, but it's my fault. Because they're like, well,
if anything, that puts salt in the wound.
So healthcare.gov, she's like, this is definitely not your fault, but on paper it's your fault.
Dude.
And I said, I don't understand that. And she's like, well, every year you have to do this. And she's like, you've done this every year for 8 years. And I'm like, it wasn't me doing
It was
that.
you.
And she goes, no, you wasn't doing it. It was your agent because it's your agent's job to do it. She's like, your agent didn't do that this year. And I was like, that is a good point because I said, I've never even logged into the portal.
For the marketplace
Yeah.
thing?
I was like, I know nothing about it. She's like, that's good. That means your agent was doing their job.
Until
this year.
Until they weren't.
So they made it real clear, like, it's definitely not your fault, but it is your fault.
Yeah.
And which is it's just a fun game because it's like, they are screwing me so bad. And I am, obviously I love fishing, but I love my family and my well-being much more.
So you gotta do what you gotta do.
So, and that's been a whole other thing. Like when I put my boat for sale, it's like everybody started texting me. And,
what's going on?
no, the most painful part is the majority of people are like, oh man, what's the new boat going to be? And I'm like,
It's not.
there's not a new boat. And then they're like, what? You're getting out of fishing? And it's like, well,
No.
no.
I got screwed by the government.
yeah. And then I've explained to a few people exactly what's going on. And the responses are, oh.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Because a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about that stuff. But so in a nutshell, yeah, I don't really know what to do at this point other than I was really stressed about it for a couple of days, but now I'm to the point where I'm like, there's no point in me worrying about this
Yeah.
because they've made it really clear that I can do this appeal and fix the rest of the year,
Yeah.
potentially, or you're just going to live with this for a year. So
That sucks, though,
as
dude.
much as I yell and scream, they're
know.
making it really clear, like, no, it's going to be it's either one way or the other.
Yeah.
And that's
Which
just,
kind of sucks, but still, it's like,
yeah. And like my agent, I really want to be mad at them. I am mad at them, but, of course now they're being super helpful because they're like, come into our office. We're going to sit down and do this appeals process together. We're going to put our heads together and we're going to do this together. And I'm like, you for sure you are, because one, I'm going to be there in person for this conversation that I'm going
Yeah.
to have with you. And yeah, so
Dude, that's why I can't. That's why I couldn't work in that type of racket because that's so high pressure.
yes,
Like a mistake like that costing somebody. So it's like an extra $3,000 a month. Is that what you said?
yeah, yeah, it'd be it's
Okay,
like
so that's 36
1,000 a
grand.
year.
So that's like this isn't like your casual like. It's just a chicken sandwich. Mess up, dude. That's straight up like that's a salary.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's for sure a salary. And my original thought was like, I was like, you know what, forget it. I'll just not have health insurance this year. And then I remembered,
You get penalized.
No, it's not even the penalty. I would take the penalty. It was Marshall's program. He wouldn't be able to go to his program.
Dude, that's crazy.
So they got me pretty wound up.
Yeah.
So
you got your balls in a
yeah,
band there.
So that's what's going on with that. And I'm not saying all that for people to give me a pity party. I can figure things out. But
No, but it's not like that's legitimate frustration to have about. So going back to healthcare, okay? Like we talk about our views on guns and our views on the racism, the LGBTQ plus movement, whatever. As far as healthcare goes, I would say I lean a little bit more towards the left on this one. And I'd say, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous that I've got to pay to have these services this much, at the very least.
yeah.
Or I think it's ridiculous that that my nephew has to pay this much to do a freaking program that helps. So,
Dude, and that's a whole other discussion is where you have to, we already have to get very specific plans for him to be covered.
Yeah.
And like I talked about in the last episode, I quite literally have to gauge, or I have to be picky on where I would work.
Right.
Because of his treatment.
Right.
And
that's a problem.
That is a huge problem. But healthcare, big farm, all that has figured out a way to make autism a mystery.
Right.
Where
because it's a spectrum.
That's what they do. They say, well, it falls under this umbrella. And since it's under this umbrella or spectrum, we can't specifically, they choose not to dial it in.
Right.
They say, well, it's a little too open-ended where we can't get real specific with it. When it's like, oh, you can for sure get specific with it. It's just, dude, nobody wants to throw out the money.
Right.
So we have to get specific things that specifically pay for it, which in turn costs a fortune. And that's where the government is failing.
And think about people like, thankfully, you guys, like I said, like you guys do pretty well to where you can. Think about people that can't.
Yeah, and I mean, like right now, it works a little slow for me. There's been some health stuff go on in the last few months, so it's not exactly great timing. But this is where never would it be good timing.
No,
but
we're gonna start an OnlyFans.
This is where I choose to be a adult and take responsibility and be like, I'm a husband, I'm a dad, and I can sit around and whine about it, or I can do something about it.
Right.
Which is what I'm doing. So, it's just
no. But like I said, like as far as like my views, quote unquote, politically about it, that's one of those things, because I guess the question for a lot of people is where should the government stop, right? Like what should be within their realm of control and what should they, like, this has nothing to do with the government. Do I think that healthcare should be in that realm? I mean, not necessarily, but I think that if the government wasn't in that realm or didn't have some sort of hold on that, then healthcare providers would be able to charge whatever out the year. And granted, we need healthcare providers, so I see why the cost is there. But nonetheless, if I had a child with autism, I couldn't afford $3,000 for insurance to cover.
No, I mean,
I can barely afford $30.
Dude, it's like,
I'm like over here mooching off my dad's Netflix account.
dude, it's like the. I'm gonna get so much backlash for this, but I think that healthcare should be. I'm gonna try and word this to where I don't sound like a.
Like a tool.
Yeah, like. Okay.
Okay,
Let me look at okay.
What if we reverse engineer this? Just say it, and then we'll go back and refine it.
Okay, that's a good point. I think that healthcare should be free.
Okay.
And the reason being, I think that just like I talked about in the last episode, I pay my taxes. I willingly pay my taxes.
Yeah.
And I would be perfectly fine with the government taking full control of big farm and healthcare.
And your taxes going towards those.
Yes.
Things. Okay.
And or redistributing taxes. I think it could for sure be figured out to where that would work. And people are going to say, well, you're talking about socialism. Maybe I am a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're never going to do that because I feel like the hard right is going to be like, well, that's ridiculous. You want to depend on the government. You want to get free healthcare and free this. I'm not calling it free.
Yeah.
I'm still paying for it, but the government is not going to do that because there is so much money in pharmacy and there's so much money in healthcare that they're not going to do that.
Okay, so one legitimate concern that I could hear somebody saying, okay, so before you jump on my case about it in the comments section or wherever you're going to voice your opinion, let me just say this. I understand the concern that because COVID didn't help with that situation or didn't help with those views by trying to enforce the vaccine.
Right.
And so I definitely see that legitimate concern of like, well, if the government's in control of it, then they have the ability to control what you do and don't take.
Yeah. And
I understand that.
That's a very valid point, and I don't agree with forcing things like the
No.
COVID vaccine. So that's where...
Well, but that's just where you got to have... That's like going back to like, should we have a government? Yes. Should we pay our governing officials? Yes. Should those governing officials have our best interest at heart? Yes. This is all a perfect utopian scenario that just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. And people are going to take what I said and totally turn it into, oh, well, Mitchell wants to live off the government. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying that...
but if I'm paying taxes...
Yes.
And the government wants to aid in paying for my healthcare insurance,
Yeah.
then okay.
Because, like, Medicare, if we were on that, they don't pay for ABA either.
No, they don't.
So, I mean...
They didn't pay. So, like, I have ADHD.
Right.
And, which
falls under the autism spectrum.
Does it?
Yeah. Or actually, autism falls under the
I wonder
ADHD.
if I can get disability for that.
Well, yeah. One of the two falls under the other. I can't remember which one, but that's why they don't cover it is because once again there's this huge umbrella where they've taken all these things and said, okay,
dude. So like, well, my AD which what I was saying was I actually haven't been taking my ADHD medicine because it made me like really irritable. So
yeah, I can see that being a problem.
And anyways, but it didn't cover it.
Yeah.
So my insurance didn't cover the ADHD meds because most of the time those meds are prescribed to children because it's affecting their school performance.
Mm-hmm.
So because I wasn't a child,
right,
it wasn't covered.
They're not going to because
no.
It's just black box if they haven't figured out how to do it financially.
Right.
And
I
think
when did this podcast become a conspiracy podcast?
Yeah, I don't know. What's funny is I definitely don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist.
Dude, everybody is a conspiracy theorist though on some level.
There is, but there's the level we're at, which I feel like is acceptable, and then there's the InfoWars level.
Yes.
Like if you're an InfoWars subscriber, joke's on you.
Dude.
If you really think that Alex Jones is a good person and he's out to help you, you are a total moron because
I must not be a moron in your eyes because I honestly don't really know much about this
with,
thing.
with Alex Jones, quite literally, he sells supplements and vitamins that he says help block the, probably like George Soros rays that are transmitted from the sky or something like that.
What?
Yeah, I don't know that. I'm coming up with something. Dude, they are that ridiculous. But he sells meals. He sells like doomsday meals. He sells special vitamins.
And we've already we should have learned our lesson already though from the whole COVID thing and the shutdown. Everybody's stockpiling weapons and food, but
Yeah.
it was toilet paper.
Yes. And so with Alex Jones, where I actually had a conversation a few months with somebody that actually follows and likes Alex Jones, and this person treated me like an idiot because I thought Alex Jones was an idiot. But what I told him was, I said, okay, well, Alex Jones was all fun and games with his wild conspiracies and his wild, like, he's making so much money off of his fans and his just ridiculous stuff he sells. But he crossed a line, and that was Sandy Hook. And he's paying for that now. Yeah, because he went on and said that all those parents are paid government people and the whole thing was a fake and it never happened.
Oh, dude.
And so, rightfully so, those parents got together and sued him for, I believe, billions. So,
dude.
and now all the Alex Jones followers are like, they're suing him for something that he was right about. And it's like, he wasn't right.
Yeah, why would they sue him if he wasn't?
And those were real people. Those were real kids.
Dude,
and
that's messed up.
So he's being sued, and now he is doing fundraisers to help him pay to keep himself afloat. And people are actually paying it.
For real?
Yeah. And because he has such a
What?
following. And I just really feel bad for people that take him serious. So what I was saying was with conspiracy theories, I guess we all are conspiracy theorists, but I'm not on that level. And it's
No, no. I mean, do I think that there are some conspiracies? Yeah,
for
probably.
sure. Like, is there suspicious stuff about 9/11? Yeah.
Yeah.
But am I going to, because I know people that dwell on this stuff and it literally eats at them.
They
and
can't sleep.
And what I tell them is, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, what?
And they're like, oh, well, nothing. I'm like, what can you do? Nothing. I'm like, well, there you go. It's okay to be like, oh, that's a little fishy. Some weird stuff went on. Was that maybe a little bit of an inside hack? Possibly.
It's possible.
But what are you going to do about it? And it makes no sense to dwell and stress on something.
No.
The only people that I fully support in conspiracy theorists is the people that, and I don't want these people to go away. I really enjoy these people, and that's the flat earthers. Because they're listening to their arguments is some of the most entertaining.
Dude.
Like, remind me to show you this video to watch. It's like 45 minutes on YouTube. It's a whole special on this guy talking about how the earth is flat. And it is the most mind-blowing thing you will ever hear.
Dude, I think the greatest thing I've ever seen was this group of it may have been the same video, I don't know, but I saw it on a short or something, some short form video. And it was a group of researchers for Flat Earth, and they were trying to disprove Flat Earth, or they were trying to prove Flat Earth by having two like structures with a hole in it at two distant places.
Right.
And according to logic and science of Flat Earth, if you shine a flashlight through the hole on one end, you should be able to see it on the other end, or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. It was something along those lines. However, if the Earth had a curvature, you would have to raise the light so that way the other person could see the light.
Right.
So that's what I think it was. And so they're video recording this, and the dude's like, okay, go ahead, and they had like a set height that they had to put the light at, that the hole was at. And so, in theory, the light should have passed through the hole and the guy should have been able to see it. That's just science, okay? This is how light works. And so the guy is looking through the hole, and the guy's like, I don't see it. He's like, okay, maybe try raising it. He raised up the light. He's like, huh,
Dude,
That's straight.
so funny. Dude, but the hardcore flat earthers were like, no,
Dude, yeah.
no, because
No.
I like whenever this video, they were like, well, here's a video of somebody going to space, and then they're like, well, that video has been edited, and it's like, okay, well, what if it wasn't? They went to space, and then they're showing Earth, and they're like, look, the Earth is round, and they
Or
go,
like the moon landing.
they're like, those were done with fisheye lenses,
Yeah.
literally done with fisheye lenses, and then. I would love to give this guy's name. He's a friend. He's a nice guy, and you probably know what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to say his name. He's a flat earther.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was saying that the Earth is rectangle, and if you actually go too far, you will fall off the edge, and there is no space. Like you would die. That the edges are actually, I believe he said, hell. So if you flew and kept going in one straight line, you eventually get to the edge. And that
It's Bermuda.
yeah,
Bermuda Triangle.
and that the Earth is a rectangle and it's a platform. And
Where's the edge though?
That's a good question. So the edge is there, but it's guarded by like government or something. I don't remember. It's guarded to where if you go too far, people would stop you. And then the Earth is a table essentially, and the legs are pillars. And those are
So like this table.
yes, with
So
legs.
this is the Earth.
And he said that the legs, he says that everything that say the Earth is flat is in the Bible, and that the pillars are like something to do with
I'd be like
God.
chapter verse, dude.
And so, but I don't want those people to go away.
No. Same with the birds aren't real people.
Oh yeah,
That's also a pretty good one. I keep them around, kind of like some of my other friends that I keep around, just because they're entertaining to have around.
right.
And I mean, it's not that I don't like them, because that's not my personality. There's very few people that I literally don't like.
Right.
So as a general rule of thumb, I just like everybody. But the people that I keep around that would normally like annoy people, I keep
Right.
around because they entertain me, because I think it's quite humorous to have conversations with them.
Well, it's like those types of people. You're cool to be friends with them, and they entertain you. But if they were to decide not to talk to you much, you're not going to lose sleep.
No,
over it.
I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
But yeah, the birds aren't. Which, by the way, the guy that started the whole birds aren't real thing. Talk about making a lot of money quick.
Dude, that's what we need. We need to start a conspiracy.
But the first person I feel like to genuinely start conspiracy theories and make a lot of money was definitely Al Gore, because you look at
L. Ron Hubbard,
what did he do?
Scientology.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Well, Al Gore, with
Global
warming, he like decided that this was a problem, and maybe it is. I don't know. It does. Again, it's like whatever.
Do I think that the climate changes? I do think the climate changes.
It does.
But do I think it's caused by these other things? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure. We're not smart enough to understand
No.
that. So, yeah, the climate definitely changes. We have anyways. It's just like this last year. Sometimes there's lots of hurricanes, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it's hotter than
Yep.
usual. Sometimes, but anyways.
I mean, it's January, and we've had like one snowy day
yeah.
this year.
So Al Gore
season.
though was like, he made so much money off of running around doing conferences on talking about global warming, and it's like, that is really something.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive. Like, why can't we take a topic and be like, we're doing conferences and we're going to talk about this
Dude.
problem and we're going to make millions and millions of dollars.
This is going to sound really bad. Okay, but I have a confession to make. So here's the thing. The difference between being a straight up jerk and a terrible person and doing the what I call social experiments is documentation. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you don't document it,
Right.
So okay. So I was curious about this. There's a certain group of people that I find very fascinating, and it's the people that capitalize off of unfortunate circumstances.
Yes.
And what I mean is that, okay, how do I want to put this? Oh, well, perfect example is actually, and it's actually what I did whenever the whole George Floyd thing happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
and you saw an influx of people that were wearing Black Lives Matter shirts.
Yes.
Those printing companies that made them, though, do you think that they're diehard Black Lives Matter advocates?
No.
Probably not. But they made a crap ton of money off of those shirts, dude.
Yes.
Okay. So I tried doing that. I started a Teespring account.
And with the BLM thing.
Yes.
I love
and
it.
I made like I made like really nice shirts.
Yeah.
You know how much money I made?
I don't know.
Zero. I made jack squat.
I think you was just too late to the show.
I think I was on the tail end
Yeah.
of that. But so right now I'm just kind of waiting. I mean,
For the next big thing.
Yeah, this is kind of my confession here, but I'm kind of waiting on the next social justice movement to happen, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna make T-shirts for it. You know,
Do you think that? What if you did like art T-shirts? I'm not joking on the George Floyd thing, but if you do, this is so bad. I'm gonna say it anyways. Say, if you were to replace George Floyd's head with the cop's head, and then the cop's head with George Floyd's head,
dude,
and did a picture of that on a T-shirt.
dude,
I know that's pretty
bad.
rough.
Oh gosh, dude. But you know what though? I could see someone doing that and saying it's art
Oh, for sure.
and using that as a pass.
Yeah. No, they would for sure do that.
Dude, that's bad though.
People would buy that.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I mean, but
Dude. We've
But-
said some bad things before. That's pretty
well,
bad.
I don't feel like
That's so bad.
I feel like a lot of people cringe hearing that, but I feel like people that were hardcore
I
BLM,
did.
people that are hardcore BLM, would, or they're probably like, "Oh yeah, I like that," you know. Maybe not. I could be wrong, but
Gosh,
that's where my brain goes. If we were
dude,
kind of-
my
we-
brain has stupid ideas like that.
Well,
Oh, I told you about my OnlyFans idea, right?
no.
My it's an OnlyFans that's not at all like super provocative or sexual, but all I do is subscribers can have me call them, and the target would be single mothers, and
Yeah.
just tell them like, "Hey, babe, you did a great job today. You work so hard.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You don't get the appreciation that you should get, and I just wanted to call and tell you that I think that you're doing such a great job."
Dude, that is a good idea. You should try it.
I actually might. I don't know how Taylor will feel about it.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Taylor hearing me on the phone in the bathroom, like, "Hey, babe, I just went."
well, then if you get really like popular and you had to start scheduling it and telling Taylor like, "Look, from noon to 5 today,
Yeah,
please don't
It's
bother me.
Not, yeah,
I'm
don't
gonna- I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be talking to these women, telling them really, and then it turns into like any other job where you do it for like so much
clock
all
it.
day. Your personal life with Taylor is like,
Yes.
oh God, I can't hear your problems. Like I
Dude.
literally hear these other women's problems
Yes.
every day.
It's like, do you know how many times I've told someone they did a good job?
Well, by the way, I see Eric Alvis. I wonder what Eric wants.
What's that?
Eric in our group chat.
Oh.
We should talk about that sometime. How we feel kind of bad for him and his
For
Minecraft.
the Minecraft server.
Oh,
We need to play it.
yeah, we will. I guess.
Okay.
So, anyways, okay, OnlyFans. There was a Stern. I'm a huge Howard Stern fan, which will also, you know, that's another thing that people find out that I like or listen to Howard Stern, and the majority of people are like, oh, like
Why?
why? Why
No,
would
I
you-
mean, why?
oh,
Why is it?
Oh, because he has the image of a perverted shock jock, and they just think
Oh.
it's, you know, but I thoroughly enjoy it, and I think he's really good. But anyways, he had on this lady that was basically just had a normal job, but started recording herself sleeping. Not like nude,
just straight up sleep.
just sleeping. It's like she would set up her OnlyFans was a video
like
feed.
pajamas.
Yeah,
and
just
poles.
her like under her blanket sleeping at night. And she is a multimillionaire now because
That is so weird.
there's men that enjoy watching women sleep, I guess, or maybe even women watching women. And she
What?
has made millions of dollars, and it's her job is literally at night. And I've seen some of the video.
Dude, where can we find like an article that shows like top, like
Women sleepers.
No, but like top niches that you can exploit for profit.
Yes. I feel like probably on OnlyFans, there's got to be video.
Like top video. Like
There's
there's got to be like
definitely
popular
videos.
searches or something like that.
There's definitely
I'm
videos.
sure if you did that, you would not like the.
No, like for
the
sure, there's
results.
some that are like men and women like taking a poop, like they probably record
Dude.
themselves to go into the bathroom. Or I don't know, but anyways, this girl, yeah, she's a multimillionaire, and that's all she does is record
Wow.
herself at night sleeping.
Wow.
Yeah,
I could do that.
And
I mean,
me
it
and you
sound
were-
like a freaking Viet Cong war zone
right.
from my butt.
Well, yeah, but the just to think that, and you and I were actually talking about this yesterday, was falling into the right hole.
Yes.
And
Because we were talking about our friends that seem like they fall like into the right hole of like the gold mine.
yes, and then we trip and fall into it.
I
and
fall
find-
into it after
Yes.
they've fallen into it, and
They didn't even leave the ladder to get back out.
they didn't.
Like they used they took the gold and the ladder with them.
Right.
But that is a case in point. Like this girl finding this avenue,
Dude.
and can you even do that? Like for sure, there was other girls then that were probably like, "I'm trying it," but they're never going to be a success
Yeah,
like
it's
she
like,
is.
can you replicate it?
Just like the, again, we were talking about this yesterday. The same thing with this freeze dried candy.
Yes.
Like, the people that got into it right off the bat, they made a freaking ton of money.
Yeah.
But it's becoming too popular now, and they're going to blow them. They're all blowing themselves.
It was
out.
the same. Like whenever I owned my store and I had the fidget spinners.
Right.
Yeah, and I got screwed by the DH Gate, the Chinese
Right.
distributors.
And then you're like late to the show.
I was late to the show, and yeah, like I said, I had 500. I spent $500
Yeah.
on spinners that were like 10 cents a pop,
Right.
and I was gonna charge $5 for them.
Yep.
I would have, and we did the math already. That would have been over $20,000 if I would have sold those
Yeah.
in profit.
Right.
So
But yeah, so yeah, we're just kind of, especially right now with the whole health insurance thing. I feel like I fell in somebody's hole, but I don't know. With the OnlyFans is I don't have it, and I know the premise of it, but I mean, look at all these teachers, these female teachers getting fired because they have
Dude,
OnlyFans,
yeah.
and it's like, can you really
that's a
fire
hot
them?
topic. That's
Yeah.
a hot topic, though.
Yeah, it's like, can you really fire them for that? You know, like, I mean, is it ethically? It's like a cop owning a bar.
I guess I don't know. Are,
Like,
the, are,
I feel
are
like-
the teachers students?
Well, I guess as long as the teacher isn't publicizing she's on OnlyFans. But then I think, like, well, how did they find out she is?
Yeah.
Definitely the kids' dads. And
Dude. Yeah, but she's on. Did you know she's on OnlyFans?
That's
How'd
like-
you know?
that would be
Oh,
like,
somebody told me from out of town.
that would be like showing up to like at a very extended family Christmas party, and your cousin pops in with his girlfriend, and it's like, you know, a really renowned porn star. Like, but then you're the guy that's like, you know, he's like, hey, this is my girlfriend, and you're like, hey, I know who you are.
Oh,
You are no
dude.
longer like.
Yeah, that's bad.
There's only one way you know that who they are,
Yeah,
and it would be the same way with OnlyFans,
dude,
unless
that's bad.
unless the women are like, you know, publicizing that they do it. Also, not to be a creep, but you know, like,
I love that preface.
yeah,
Not
like,
to be a creep, but
like, where were these teachers at like 20 years ago that were like,
oh, dude,
you know, not saying that I wanted to like do things with a teacher, but it's like, things have really evolved. Like, you know, it's just things have really changed.
well, you know what it is that there was a period because now there's a teacher shortage, you know,
Right.
and there was a period in time where schools were practically begging for teachers,
Right.
and still kind of are.
Right.
And so you've got a lot of young, fresh college graduates that need a job,
Right.
and so they get teaching jobs. So you have a lot of really young teachers right now.
Right.
That's what it is.
Oh.
Because used to, if you had a teaching job, I was going to school to get my teacher cert, and my education professor was talking about how in like 20 years ago and even before then, it was really hard to get a teaching job
Right.
because there was a lot of teachers and there were not like a lot of open positions for teaching, and people would just teach for a long time,
Right.
But now, there's, like I said, there's a teacher shortage, and so that was one of the only programs that I ever heard of whenever I went into college my first day, and the teacher said, whenever you're done with this, you will have a job.
Right.
So
Do you think it's more so the money? Or you think
for the teaching thing, I think it's a combination of the money, the pressure, the students. The students aren't. You know what the worst part about teaching?
Probably the students.
No,
Oh.
their parents.
Oh, I believe that.
That is the
I
worst
guess.
part.
It's because like my little experience with helping with Little League Baseball, the parents are like,
Yes.
whoa, you are really involved for Little League Baseball.
Yes. It's like, buddy, I promise you, like, Lil Johnny's not going to make it in the majors.
No,
Like, you know what I mean?
no. I mean, and
I mean, at best, he might have some sort of scholarship opportunity, but that's nothing to really, freak out about right now.
right now, yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know. I couldn't be a teacher for multiple reasons. One, I couldn't deal with kids. I can't even think.
the kids aren't too bad. It's usually like I said, for me, it's the parents.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what age range I would probably be best as a teacher. I don't know if there is one, because I feel like high schoolers, it would be a constant state of me trying not to fight them physically because I don't like their attitude.
Dude, no. Here's the problem. Here's the thing that they don't talk about, like being a high school teacher. How funny some of the kids are,
Yeah,
but you have to like keep your composure.
you can't be joking with them.
No, dude. So like I was doing sit-in observation time in a high school classroom, and this kid turns around and looks at this other kid, and he says, "You ever watched The Land Before Time?" And the kid's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You look like that one character, the one with the long neck."
That is awesome. And so you have to keep it together and not laugh at them.
Keep it together. But I was like, that was really freaking good.
Because you're like, it's not wrong.
Yeah, dude.
Like, you totally-
Because like, even if you looked at the kid, yeah, straight up,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that was so good.
And I like to pester too much. Like, I
Same.
don't pester kids. Like,
Well, and like on some level of that is acceptable.
yeah.
But it's like my problem sometimes is I don't know when to stop.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Like I told you, I told your son that I was gonna poop in his pillow.
Dude, it's so funny because
Dude.
when I asked him about it, he was like, "Yeah," but he thought it was funny. If I was to tell him that, he always tells me, he's like, "You taking it too far," and then because
Like,
with
that
your
was messed up, Dad.
with your kids, one of my favorite things to do here recently is I will ask them, I will just say things that are clearly wrong. Like yesterday, which one was it? AJ or Leland? Which one was it? Leland.
It doesn't matter. But anyways,
He was wearing a Nike shirt, and my favorite thing to do is like, "Hey, bub, I see you're wearing your Under Armour shirt today." But I'll be real
Yeah,
serious, and they always look, and then they look at me,
like confused,
yeah, and they're like questioning. Wait a minute, I thought this was this,
dude.
and then when AJ specifically is playing with action figures, he'll have like Superman. I'm like, "Man, are you playing with Spider-Man, bub?" And he's always like, "No, it's Superman." I'm like, "Oh, sorry, Batman." And he's like, "No." But he doesn't laugh or anything. He's just like,
Dude, he's
really
straight serious.
He's super confused. You can tell he's like, "Wait a minute."
What if this is
Yeah.
Batman? Like, what if I'm wrong? You're just gaslighting my children.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
that's so funny.
And it is so much fun. But with Bentley, So we'll have to figure out a way to put the video on our page.
Dude, are you gonna talk about you bombing him?
Yes, he has been doing these YouTube videos of him playing video games. Well, I didn't realize he was starting to record like his face and putting it in the corner of the video. I just thought he was just recording the game.
Dude, I got the video,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna clip it in here in a minute. But go ahead and tell the story.
So he was in it. He's like, I'm doing a live feed, so nobody bother me. And he should not tell me that, because then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm definitely bothering him. So I let it go on for a while, and finally I go back to his bedroom. I just like slammed the door open, and I like stuck my butt out, and I was like, get some of this. And then I closed the door and opened it, and I was like, right here. And I bent over and grabbed my butt cheek and left the room. And like several minutes goes by, and I went back to doing whatever I was doing. And he comes into the living room,
That's the greatest.
and he looks like he's seen a ghost and maybe even crying. And we were like, hey, what's wrong? And he's like, Dad just ruined my live stream. And I was like, oh, because of what I did? He's like, yeah. I said, well, buddy, you're just recording your face. They didn't see me, and they definitely didn't hear me, because it's just the mic off of his laptop. I was like, they definitely didn't hear me. He's like, well, I think that they did. And then I had him convinced that maybe they didn't, and he was starting to get better. Well, as he was like laying in the fetal position in the chair, like really upset. And Brittany was like, she pulled up his YouTube and watched the video and got to the end, and she starts like kind of giggling, and then I watch it, and we're
And
like,
you can straight up see
yes,
and hear you.
You can't have other cowboys. Hmm. Calvin, I guess I should.
Listen to this. Right here.
Oh.
and we couldn't keep it together. And then it got so awkward because we couldn't stop like hysterically laughing. And he's just over there like, it's not funny. And it just ruined everything. And he's like genuinely upset about it, but we can't stop laughing about it.
I can't stop laughing about it since you told me about it. Dude, that's so great.
So I'm always doing things to them that are super.
Oh, dude, I told my kids this morning when I dropped them off from school. I told Dahlia, I was like, I said, I hope your day is glorious.
Yes.
And I said, I hope you reap all of the glory and blessings of the day. And she's like, what? And then I told Leland, I was like, may you have the strength and wisdom of 1,000 dwarves.
What did he say?
He was like, what?
Yeah. No, and me and you are the same in that fact that we like to say exactly what goes through our heads. And unfortunately, not even unfortunately, because I like that about us, we have really weird ideas on what's funny. Because with Bentley, I always tell him to be blessed and blessed. And I'm always like, hey, bud. That's another thing. I like to say hey, bud, in a super creepy way.
Hey, bud.
Yeah. I was like, hey, bud, make sure I was like, go be blessed and blessed others today. And he's always like, no. And then when we pick him up from school, sometimes I will just pull straight up in front of him and his friends, but I will leave the doors locked. And he'll be sitting there trying to open up the door really fast. And then I'll roll down my window and be like, hey, who is that? Who is that?
Dude, I want to, whenever I'm picking up Leland from school, I really want to, and Dahlia, I guess, but this might trigger her because she was a foster kid. But Leland, I really want to pull up in like a weird van and just run out and grab him and throw him in the van and take off.
Dude, that would be so funny. You ought to see somebody that works at Walmart in Florida drives like a literal
Panel van type thing.
No, it's a Scooby-Doo van. It's the same color.
Oh, the mystery machine?
Yeah, who is that?
I don't know.
It's somebody that works there all the time. It literally says the mystery machine on the side.
What?
Yeah. So.
What's going on, John? Just doing a podcast. Is that your picture? Yeah, guys interested. Nice.
So, anyways.
Yeah, we're in a public coffee shop, so, people interrupt. It's okay.
That
No,
is a
dude.
pretty good picture.
No, dude,
did he take that or did he buy the stock photo?
No, he
I'm
took
just
it.
kidding.
No, John does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
No, dude. So I would love to do like I used to want to do. Oh, actually, we did do that whenever I was in high school. To this kid that we went to school with, and I won't name him, but you know him, and he's a dwarf.
What's his first name and last
Ian.
initial? I'm just kidding. Yes.
Yeah, we were trying to scheme up a way to take out the seats in my dad's minivan
Oh yeah.
and like find him at the local gas station
And then throw him in.
and just run around, like just run out, grab him, and throw him in there, and just take off, no context.
So
But dude, yeah, I would love to do that. Taylor would kill me.
yeah. Well, I did that to Marshall at IGA this last weekend. We were
I
grocery
heard of it.
shopping. I took him and took off running with him to the bathroom. Dude. Not thinking, I knew he'd have a reaction, but he screamed so loud that literally everybody, because that's right there by the registers.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody stopped what they were doing and just stared at us. And when they turned around, it was me running with Marshall, screaming, and Brittany just staring at us.
Dude, how mad was
She was mad.
Dude, that's so great.
But she's a good sport. She tries to laugh it off. But she also sometimes is like, seriously, that's just too much.
Taylor does. Oh, Taylor, she doesn't even think it's funny.
Oh, it's like, it needs to be too much, though.
It's like whenever I'm at the drive-through, I make it a point to make it things uncomfortable
Yes.
for everybody.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I'll go to the drive-through and I'll be like, you know, bibbity bobbity, giving it sloppity.
Yes.
And whenever I get my food, yes, dude. Or I'll be like, you were in the parking lot earlier.
No, dude, I remember we used to do that in high school. Whenever you would,
Act like we were gonna make dinner plans.
yeah, when we go to Walmart,
I remember
you'd be
that.
like, you're like, hey, and those people would look at you like, listen, we talked about it. It's fine. We'll see you this evening, okay?
Yeah, we'll meet at your house.
Yeah,
And we take off.
yeah, and that was
Dude.
like me and Brittany used to several times, and some of our friends in high school, we would go grab like boxes of condoms, and we would walk around the grocery section and find like older people.
I would do, dude.
And toss them in their cart and then just wait for them to check out. And the looks on their faces whenever they
Dude.
go to check out and they see those, and
I would do the same thing. I worked for a company that put up marketing displays in Walmarts, and I would do that. I spent like 8 hours a day in a Walmart, and I had to make sure that certain thing like shelves were stocked and stuff like that. And I would get bored, and yeah, I'd go get a bunch of contraceptives, and they used to have like penis rings
oh yeah,
and the condom section.
yeah,
And I'd get stuff like that, and
Yeah.
I'd put them in people's shopping carts and stuff, really bad stuff. So, but same thing, like whenever they go to check out, they'd be like, I swear I didn't put
yeah.
that,"
It's
you
like,
know,
oh yes, you did.
you put that
It
in there.
got that, yeah. So real quick, I do want to mention, what's that game that all of our kids got for Christmas? The hot dog and chicken game.
The hot dog versus chicken.
Have you guys actually played it, or have you only?
Not for its intended purposes, and not even like not even like how
Yeah.
the innuendo just sounded. Literally, the kids have the hot dog and the chicken stuck together at the
Yes.
suction ends, and they're just like waving it around like a sword.
Dude, Christmas Day, whenever they unwrapped those, me and you both were like, oh my
Dude,
God.
they knew what they were doing.
The hot dog. Anybody listening, look up what Andy's. What was it called again? The hot
Hot dog versus chicken.
Yeah.
I think it's just called hot dog versus chicken, but it's like a bottle flipping type game.
Yes. The hot dog was 1000% designed for adults to laugh at.
Yes.
I mean, it is wildly inappropriate.
Yes.
But you're like Leland running around, or is he?
Yeah, it was Leland.
Yeah, with the Yoda or the mini
baby Yoda?
Yeah, and like having it just next to him.
Yeah,
Was,
like in his crotchal
yeah,
region.
it was
Yes, dude.
hilarious.
It was bad. I mean,
Dude,
bad.
And then also, remember that time that he drew a spider?
Dude,
Do you
and
still have that?
I on my phone actually I do. I have it saved. He said that it was a spider monkey or something like that. But it was straight up a penis and balls. Dude, I told Taylor, I was like, thank God he doesn't go to preschool or something right now, because I would be getting so many phone calls and Facebook messages.
Oh yeah. And dude, that stuff is funny though.
Dude, it's hilarious.
That's like,
I have it saved, but it's dude, it's like, how would you even make that up?
yes, you wouldn't. I mean,
And it's not like I know some parents like. I'm kind of weird about this. I know some parents like bathe with their kids and stuff.
yeah, I think to a certain age that needs to stop.
I never did. I was never interested in. I'm like I don't want my kid to know what's going on.
Dude, I thought you were getting ready
Down
to say
there.
that you still did. That
No.
You, oh, I don't.
No, I never did. I was
Yeah,
like
no.
dude, I was like I just don't want my kid knowing what's going on down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he
Well-
knows that I'm a man and he knows that he's a male as well, and so we probably have similar
Yeah.
we have a similar system.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to know exactly like what stuff looks like down there.
No, I don't. No.
I'm flattered by the image that he drew. He was very generous.
Dude, that is so funny.
Dude.
That's probably, yeah, I'm not even, so, like, the other day I was undressing in the bathroom. Like, Marshall likes to take a bath.
Wait,
But,
can we take a quick break? Because I don't have to.
yeah, let's see.